Okay, so interdimensional portals? Yeah, those are real, and they hurt like a... The thought died as reality tore itself apart around Wade Wilson. The New York skyline flickered like a corrupted video file, buildings phasing between familiar and wrong. The air tasted like burnt ozone and regret. A sound like tearing paper filled his ears, except the paper was the fabric of space-time, and someone was ripping it with their bare hands. Wade tumbled through a spiral of red and black energy, his stomach lurching as gravity forgot which way was down. His tactical suit caught fire in 3 places. This was fine. Everything was fine. He hit the billboard face first. The impact shattered his nose, cracked his jaw, and folded 3 ribs inward like a cheap lawn chair. Wade's healing factor kicked in immediately, bone grinding against bone as it knitted back together. He peeled himself off the massive advertisement, leaving a Wade-shaped dent in the smiling face of... Wait. His vision cleared. Blonde hair, blue eyes, American flag color scheme. That specific brand of sociopathic corporate smile. Oh no. The Homelander billboard stretched 50 feet across Times Square, and Wade had crashed directly into its crotch. Of course he had. The universe had a sense of humor, and that sense of humor was mean. Wade pushed himself upright on the metal scaffolding, his suit still smoking. Below, tourists scattered like startled pigeons, their phones already out. Because of course they were. The dimensional rift sealed behind him with a sound like a champagne cork wrapped in thunder, leaving behind only the smell of burning reality and chimichangas. Wait, why chimichangas? He hadn't even eaten. Focus. Assess. Survive. Wade's eyes tracked across Times Square, and every detail screamed wrong. The Vought International logo blazed from every third building. Digital billboards cycled through Superher. Oh, advertisements. Action figures, energy drinks, breakfast cereal. The 7 grinned down at him from multiple angles, all perfect teeth and calculated charisma. A Starlight poster promised, "Hope you can believe in TM," with an actual trademark symbol. Even the hot dog carts had Homelander's face on them. This wasn't his New York. This wasn't even his universe's New York. This was that New York. Well, Wade said to nobody in particular, because the fourth wall was more of a suggestion anyway. This is officially worse than that time I got stuck in the DC universe. At least Batman had the decency to brood quietly. A security guard below was shouting into his radio, words tumbling over each other in panic. Came through some kind of portal. Red suit, weapons, just crashed into the display. The crowd formed a loose circle, phones held high like digital age torches. Wade recognized the look in their eyes. Not quite fear, not quite excitement. Entertainment. They were waiting to see what happened next, already composing their social media posts. Wade checked his pouches. Katanas, present. Guns, accounted for. Spare ammunition, check. Phone. He pulled it out, thumbed the screen. No signal. The apps were different. No Uber, no Postmates. But there was something called Vought Plus, and his stomach dropped another 6 inches. "Hey, Siri?" he tried. Nothing. "Alexa?" Silence. "Jarvis? Anyone?" The phone just stared back at him, useless and unfamiliar. He shoved it away and looked up at the Homelander billboard again, at the 7, at the Vought logos burning across every surface like a corporate rash. He knew these people. Not personally, they didn't exist where he came from, but he'd seen the show, read the comics, knew exactly what kind of universe he'd landed in. A universe where superheroes were products, where Compound 5 turned people into weapons, where the worst monsters wore capes and smiled for the cameras, where Homelander existed. Nope. Wade stood carefully on the scaffolding, testing his newly healed ribs. Nope, nope, nope. I've fought Thanos. I've annoyed Wolverine. I once made the Hulk cry. Long story. Involved a ukulele, but I draw the line at evil Superman knockoffs with mommy issues and laser eyes. He looked around for the portal. Gone. Naturally. Cool, 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 cool. Stuck in corporate superhero hell. This is fine. A woman screamed below. Wade's head snapped toward the sound. An armored truck careened through the intersection, drivers slumped over the wheel, vehicle accelerating toward a crowd of tourists clustered near the TKTS booth. The security guard was still on his radio. The crowd was still filming. Nobody was moving. Nobody except Wade. He jumped. The fall should have killed him. 3-story. He dove into the delivery truck's cab, yanked the driver out with an apologetic, "Sorry, need this," and slammed his foot on the accelerator. The delivery truck lurched forward. Wade spun the wheel hard. Metal screamed against metal as he T-boned the armored truck from the side, redirecting its momentum away from the crowd. Both vehicles skidded, sparks spraying across asphalt. The armored truck slammed into a light post. The delivery truck crumpled like an accordion, and Wade went through the windshield face first. Glass shredded his mask. His cheekbone shattered. His left eye popped from the socket and dangled by the optic nerve for 3 excruciating seconds before the healing factor shoved it back in. Wade hit the street rolling, skin already knitting closed, and came up in a crouch with both katanas drawn because muscle memory didn't care about interdimensional travel. The tourists stared. The phones kept recording. Wade registered at least 40 different angles, all capturing his face, reconstructing itself in real time. Great. Fantastic. His secret identity was already compromised, and he'd been here for 90 seconds. "That looked worse than it was," Wade announced, sheathing his katanas. His voice came out wrong, jaw still healing, teeth regrowing. He worked his mandible back and forth until it clicked into place. "Okay, no, it was exactly as bad as it looked. But everyone's alive, so let's call it a win." The armored truck driver was slumped over the wheel, unconscious but breathing. Wade checked his pulse, steady, and stepped back. The crowd still hadn't moved, just staring, recording. One kid, maybe 12, had his phone aimed directly at Wade's face. The healing process was visible under his shredded mask, skin crawling across exposed muscle, scars forming and fading. Wade gave the camera a small wave. "Hi, YouTube, or whatever you call it here. Please like and subscribe to my channel, Interdimensional Fuck-Ups and the Idiots Who Love Them." "Freeze!" The voice came from above. Wade looked up and immediately regretted every life choice that had led to this moment. The deep descended from the sky on a wave of... Wait, no. He was just... Soup? Wade tilted his head. "Oh, you mean like... Right. Compound V. Vought. This whole situation." He gestured vaguely at reality. "Here's the thing, Fishboy. Can I call you Fishboy? I'm going to call you Fishboy. I'm not a soup. I'm a mutant. Different origin story, same terrible life choices." A red and blue blur materialized beside the deep. A-Train stopped running, arms crossed, looking Wade up and down with obvious disdain. "Mutant? That's not a thing. Everyone knows powers come from Compound Vi." "Not where I'm from, Speedy." "Where you're from?" The deep frowned. "What, like Europe?" "More like a completely different universe where Vought doesn't exist and superheroes aren't corporate spokespeople." Wade watched their faces. No recognition, no understanding, just confusion. "You know what? Forget it. Point is, I saved those people. You're welcome. I'll just be going now." He turned. A-Train blurred into his path. "Not how this works. You just committed multiple traffic violations, destruction of property, and unsanctioned hero work. You need to come with us to Vought Tower for processing." "Processing," Wade repeated the word slowly. "Like meat or insurance claims. Hard pass." The deep stepped closer, hands raised in a gesture probably meant to be calming but read as condescending. "Look, we understand you're new to this, but there are rules, regulations. You can't just run around saving people without authorization." Wade stared at him, blinked, stared some more. "Did you actually just say I can't save people without authorization? Like, out loud? With your mouth? In front of all these cameras?" He gestured to the crowd. Every phone was still recording. "Because I gotta tell you, that's not the great PR move you think it is." A-Train's jaw tightened. You're coming with us, one way or another. Is the other way the fun way? Wade's hand drifted toward his katans. The Deep smiled, and it didn't reach his eyes. Why don't we all just calm down and head back to the tower? I'm sure this is all a misunderstanding. Vought takes care of people like you. People like me. Wade looked at the SUVs, at the armed men, at the two heroes blocking his path, at the cameras still recording everything. His healing factor had finished its work. No visible injuries remained, just the shredded costume and the growing certainty that he'd landed in the absolute worst timeline. Yeah, I've heard that before. A woman emerged from the center SUV. Blonde, professional, expensive suit that probably cost more than his entire arsenal. She approached with the kind of smile that corporate executives practiced in mirrors, warm and empty in equal measure. "Hello," she said, extending a hand. "I'm Madeline Stillwell, Senior Vice President of Hero Management at Vought International. And you are?" Wade looked at her hand, at her smile, at the SUVs and the tactical team and the two heroes and the 40 phones recording every second. In so much trouble. The room wasn't a cell. Vought made that very clear. The glass walls offered a panoramic view of Manhattan. The leather chairs cost more than most cars. Fresh coffee sat on the table in porcelain cups with the Vought logo. Everything screamed friendly corporate meeting except for the cameras in every corner and the armed guards outside the door and the fact that Wade definitely wasn't allowed to leave. Madeline sat across from him, tablet in hand, smile still perfectly calibrated. "So, Wade Wilson, that's the name you gave security." "It's the name my parents gave me. Well, technically they gave me up for adoption, but the paperwork said Wade Wilson, so I'm sticking with it." He reached for a coffee cup. The guard by the door tensed. Wade raised an eyebrow. "Relax, Rambo. I'm caffeinating, not weaponizing." "Of course." Madeline's smile never wavered. "We're just here to help you acclimate. New city, new circumstances. Vought specializes in soup integration and management. We've helped thousands of individuals with abilities find their place in society. Their place being corporate spokesperson who fights crime on camera for profit. Their place being hero." Madeline tapped her tablet. "But first, we need to understand your abilities. The footage from Times Square shows remarkable regeneration. Healing factor, yes? And enhanced reflexes, strength, combat training. Very impressive." Wade said nothing, just watched her. In his experience, people who called things very impressive, the door opened. Wade felt the shift in air pressure, the way Madeline's posture straightened microscopically, the guard's sudden rigid attention. He didn't need to turn around to know who'd entered. The room smelled like leather and cologne and barely restrained megalomania. Homelander walked into view and leaned against the glass wall, arms crossed. Up close, he was worse. The suit was too perfect, like it had been painted on. The smile was rehearsed to the point of uncanny, but the eyes, those were real, cold, assessing, calculating exactly how much of a threat Wade posed and whether killing him would be worth the PR headache. "So," Homelander said, voice dripping with performative warmth, "this is our interdimensional visitor. Gotta say, Wade, you've caused quite a stir. 40 million views in 3 hours, trending worldwide. That's impressive for someone without a marketing team." "I contain multitudes." Wade met his gaze. "Don't look away, don't blink." Predators noticed weakness. "Also, fun fact, you're fictional where I come from. Well, you're fictional here too, but you know, actually real, physically present, capable of laser eyeing me into component atoms." Homelander's smile froze. "Fictional?" "Yeah, there's this streaming show, Amazon Prime. You're the main antagonist. Great performance, really sells the narcissistic Superman with mommy issues vibe. The actor who plays you is really committed." The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Homelander's eyes narrowed. Madeline cut in smoothly. "What Wade means is he's from an alternate dimension. Different Earth, different reality. We've been briefed on the preliminary report. Quite fascinating, actually. Dimensional rifts are theoretically possible according to our research division. Your research division is studying dimensional rifts? Wade's attention snapped to her. Like, actively? With technoli? Oj. That seems like a monument. Hi, whoever's watching. Your superhero system is dystopian nightmare fuel and you should feel bad. Who are you talking to? Homelander pushed off the wall, moving closer. The camera? You think this is a show? Everything's a show if you're paying attention. Wade turned back to them. Look, I get it. You've got a whole system here. Corporate superheroes, licensing, merchandising, the works. Very efficient, very profitable, very creepy. But I'm not part of it. I'm just trying to find a way home. Madeline set down her tablet. That's actually what we wanted to discuss. Vought has resources, technology, research divisions working on cutting-edge science. We could help you. But these things take time, funding, and in the meantime, you need somewhere to stay, something to do. Why not work with us? Work with you? Wade repeated it slowly. Meaning? Meaning a contract. Madeline pulled up a document on her tablet, turned it to face him. Standard Hero Agreement. Vought provides housing, legal representation, PR management, costume design, and team placement. In exchange, you make appearances, fight crime in designated zones, and follow our safety protocols. Wade scanned the contract, his eyes caught on specific phrases. Image rights in perpetuity. Exclusive representation. Mandatory tracking for public safety. Revenue split, 90% Vought, 10% talent. Termination clause subject to company discretion. This is a slavery contract with better marketing. Madeline's smile tightened. It's industry standard. Every hero signs it. The Seven, the Teenage Kicks, all our affiliated heroes. We're offering you legitimacy, protection, a chance to be a real hero in this world. I'm already a real hero. I just saved 40 people without a contract. Homelander moved behind Wade's chair, close enough to be threatening. And you'll do it with Vought's backing, or you won't do it at all. Unsanctioned soup activity is illegal in 17 states and heavily regulated in the rest. You try to play hero without us, you're looking at federal charges, prison, or worse. Wade felt Homelander's presence like heat on his neck. The threat was clear. Sign or suffer consequences. He'd been in this position before. Weapon X, various government agencies, that one time with the mob, and it never ended well. But at least in his universe, he had options. Friends. The X-Men, even if they didn't like him. Here, Ms. Stillwell, I've dealt with corporations before. AIM, Oscorp, Weapon X, like I mentioned. And I know when I'm being sold. So here's my counteroffer. Wade stood, meeting Homelander's glare without flinching. I find my own way home. You pretend this never happened, and nobody has to find out how flammable Vought Tower actually is. I'm guessing very flammable. These modern buildings always are. Homelander's eyes started to glow red. Madeline stood smoothly. Let's all take a breath. Wade, you're clearly exhausted from your journey. Why don't we set you up in one of our guest suites? You can rest, think about our offer, and we'll reconvene tomorrow. No pressure. The glowing faded from Homelander's eyes, but his smile was surgical. Yeah, no pressure. Sleep on it. He leaned in close, voice dropping to a whisper only Wade could hear. But just so we're clear, you're not leaving this building without signing something, one way or another. The guest suite on the 47th floor had a king bed, a fully stocked bar, a 70-inch TV, and cameras in at least 6 places Wade could identify immediately. Probably more he'd missed. The door locked from the outside. The windows didn't open. A small placard on the nightstand read, "Welcome to the Vought family," with an exclamation point that felt like a threat. Wade sat on the bed and pulled out his phone. Different universe, same muscle memory. He tried searching for anything familiar. X-Men returned clothing brands. Avengers was a British TV show from the 60s. Spider-Man brought up arachnid facts. But Compound Vi, gave him thousands of results before the search suddenly crashed. He tried again. Same crash. Third attempt, the phone just shut off entirely. Subtle. He tossed it on the nightstand and lay back, staring at the ceiling, specifically at the smoke detector that was definitely a camera. I know you are watching. At least put on some music. Maybe some Marvin Gaye. Really set the mood for this hostage situation? No response. Naturally. A knock at the door. Wade sat up as it opened without waiting for his answer, because of course it did. A young woman entered, blonde hair. Annie laughed, surprised. I can probably help with food, at least. The cafeteria is pretty good. Well, for corporate cafeteria food. She hesitated in the doorway. Can I come in? I promise I'm not here to intimidate you or whatever Homelander was doing. Please. I could use some company that isn't actively planning my murder. Wade gestured to the chair. Though I'm guessing you're still reporting back to management. I mean, yeah. Kind of. She sat, looking uncomfortable. That's how it works here. But I wanted to meet you anyway. What you did in Times Square, that was real hero work. No cameras set up, no PR team, just helping people. Basic human decency shouldn't be impressive, Starbright. It's Starlight, and you'd be surprised how rare it is around here. She picked at her glove. I've been with the Seven for 3 months. Back home in Iowa, being a hero meant saving people. Here it means scheduled appearances, photo ops, hitting your marks. Her voice dropped. Making sure the cameras get your good side. Wade studied her. That genuine disappointment, the crack in her faith. He'd seen it before in people who joined organizations thinking they were the good guys, only to discover the reality underneath the marketing. Let me guess. They're not what you expected. The Deep tried to sexually assault me on my first day. The words hung in the air. Annie said them flatly, matter of fact, like she'd practiced that specific sentence. Probably had. Wade's hands curled into fists. And let me guess, he said quietly. You reported it, and Vought did absolutely nothing except maybe offer you a settlement if you stayed quiet. How did you... Because I've seen this universe's show, remember? I know how this story goes. Wade leaned forward. I'm sorry that happened to you. And I'm sorry you're stuck in a system designed to protect assholes like him instead of people like you. Annie blinked rapidly. You're the first person who said that. Everyone else just... It's complicated, or he's important to the team, or maybe I misunderstood his intentions. She wiped her eyes. God, I'm sorry. You've been here for like 4 hours and I'm dumping this on you. Kid, I've been tortured by government agencies, hunted by ninjas, and killed more times than I can count. Trust me, you're not the burden here. This place is. Wade stood, walked to the window. I still do want to help people. I just thought the Seven would be different. Annie joined him at the window. You don't trust them. Vought, I mean. I don't trust corporations that turn people into products and call it heroism. Wade tapped the glass. But that's me. You've got to make your own choices. Just keep your eyes open, yeah? This place has teeth. Is it true, what you said downstairs? That we're fictional where you're from? Yeah, TV show. Pretty dark. Lots of murder and corporate corruption, and... He glanced at her expression. You know what? You'll figure it out. Or you won't. Time's funny that way. Annie was quiet for a moment. Then, are you really going to fight them? Vought? I'm really going to find a way home. If fighting them is required, well... Wade shrugged. Wouldn't be the first evil organization I've dismantled. Probably won't be the last. They won't let you leave. They won't have a choice. A sound from the hallway. Heavy footsteps. Annie straightened immediately, her expression shifting into something more professional. That's probably A-Train. He patrols this floor. She moved toward the door, then paused. For what it's worth, I hope you find your way home, but if you're stuck here for a while... She smiled, and it was genuine. It's nice to meet someone who still thinks saving people matters. It's literally The only thing that matters, Starlight. She left. The door locked behind her with an audible click. Wade turned back to the window, watching the city lights. Somewhere out there was a dimensional rift, technology that could send him home. Answers. But between him and those answers stood Vought International, an entire system built on controlling people with powers, and Homelander, a narcissistic sociopath with laser eyes and zero accountability. Wade pulled out his phone again, tried searching for information on dime. National rifts. The screen loaded for 3 seconds, then crashed. He tried Vought Black Sites. Crash. Compound V scandal. The phone shut off completely and wouldn't turn back on. He smiled. Oh, you're definitely hiding something. Wade left the building 3 hours later through a service exit on the 42nd floor. The security guard monitoring that station was eating lunch, distracted by his phone. Vaught's surveillance was comprehensive but not perfect. People were still people. Systems still had gaps. The city hit him like a wall of sound and light and Vought logos. Every third billboard, every fifth bus. The company had branded reality itself. Wade pulled his hood up and moved through the evening crowd. Just another face in Manhattan's endless stream. His phone was useless, but he had eyes. The dimensional rift had deposited him in Times Square, but the energy signature, he'd felt it, tasted it. That specific burnt ozone wrongness had come from somewhere else first. Rifts didn't just appear randomly. Something generated them. He followed instinct and half-remembered physics toward the Lower East Side. The neighborhoods changed as he walked. Less Vought advertising, more graffiti. The kind of area where cameras were sparse and heroes never scheduled appearances because there was no profit in it. Wade checked doorways and alleys, looking for glass shattered. A scream cut short. 3 shots fired in rapid succession. Wade's body moved before his brain caught up. Muscle memory from 1,000 fights. He sprinted toward the sound, rounding the corner to find a convenience store with its front window blown out. 2 figures stood inside, silhouetted against the fluorescent lights. One held the cashier against the counter. The other was rifling through the register, moving with unnatural speed. Not A-train fast, but faster than human. Low-level soups. Compound V derivatives, probably. The kind Vought didn't put on teams. Wade assessed in 2 seconds. 3 civilians visible. Cashier, elderly man by the magazine rack, teenager crouched behind a chip display. 2 armed soups. One had enhanced strength. Wade could tell by how he held the cashier one-handed while keeping a gun in the other. The speedster was twitchy, pupils dilated. Compound V addict, maybe. Desperate. The smart play was walk away. Not his city, not his universe, not his problem. Wade kicked the door open. Hi. Welcome to Save-A-Lot. My name's Wade, and I'll be your catastrophic life choice today. Can I interest you in stopping this right now before it gets really embarrassing for you? Both soups spun. The strong one shoved the cashier down and raised his gun. The fuck are you supposed to be? I'm the guy in the red suit asking politely before the violence starts. Fair warning. The politeness window closes in 3, 2. Wade drew both katanas. Oops. Sorry. I'm impatient. He moved. The speedster blurred forward, fist cocked back. Wade sidestepped, let the momentum carry him past, and brought the katana pommel down on the back of his skull. The soup went down hard. The strong one fired. 3 shots, center mass. Wade felt the impacts. Felt the bullets punch through Kevlar and tissue and spine. His legs stopped working. He collapsed. The strong soup laughed. Dumbass! You're not even... Wade's spine reconstructed itself in 6 seconds. He stood, bullets pushing out of the wounds as fresh skin sealed behind them. Not even what? Bulletproof? Yeah, I'm aware. Doesn't really matter, though. He rolled his neck. bones clicking into place. See? I don't have to be bulletproof. I just have to be more stubborn than you are murderous. And buddy, I'm very stubborn. The soup's eyes widened. He fired again. Wade walked through it, taking rounds in the shoulder, chest, throat. Each bullet slowed him for a second as healing factor worked overtime. Blood soaked his suit. The pain was extraordinary. Healing hurt worse than the initial damage, nerve endings firing as they reconnected. But Wade had spent years with terminal cancer fighting a regeneration factor. This was Tuesday. He reached the soup in 5 steps and drove his katana through the man's gun hand, pinning it to the counter. The soup screamed. Wade grabbed his throat with his free hand. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave. Your friend's going to wake up with the world's worst headache. You're both going to reconsider your life choices, and these nice people are going to go home safely. Wade's voice dropped. Or I can make this ugly. Your call. The speedster groaned, stirring. The strong soup nodded frantically, tears streaming. Wade pulled the katana free, wiped it on the man's shirt, and stepped back. Both soups scrambled for the door, the speedster supporting his injured partner. They disappeared into the night. Wade turned to the civilians. The cashier was filming on her phone. Of course she was. The elderly man had his phone out too. The teenager was live streaming, comments scrolling past faster than Wade could read. Everyone okay? He sheathed his katanas. Nobody hurt? Good. Great. Fantastic. Just doing some unauthorized heroic. Sam, don't mind me. Please delete those videos. I'm begging you. They won't be deleted, will they? The cashier shook her head, still filming. Cool. Love that for me. Wade headed for the door. Remember, if anyone asks, this never happened, and I'm definitely not real. He was 3 blocks away when his confiscated phone buzzed in his pocket. Vought had remotely reactivated it. A single text from an unknown number. Return to tower immediately. This is not a request. Wade kept walking. His phone buzzed again. Incoming call. He answered. Madeline's voice was ice wrapped in velvet. Mr. Wilson, that was quite a performance. 40,000 views in 6 minutes. Trending on 3 platforms. Very impressive for someone who was supposed to be resting in his suite. Must have been someone else. I'm still in bed. This is a very realistic dream. Security footage shows you left 3 hours ago. The convenience store incident is all over social media. Graphic violence, unregistered soup activity, vigilantism, multiple legal violations. A pause. Homelander is very unhappy. Tell Homelander to get in line. I've made a lot of people unhappy today. This isn't a joke, Wade. You just made yourself Vaught's problem. And we handle our problems very efficiently. The call ended. Wade looked up. A-Train stood on the rooftop ahead, silhouetted against the city lights. Behind Wade, the Deep landed in the street. They'd boxed him in, professional, coordinated. Vaught's retrieval team doing what they did best. Wade raised his hands slowly. Before this escalates, I want it on record that I was helping people. Just regular superhero stuff. Very legal, very cool. A-Train blurred down, stopping inches away. Shut up. You're coming with us. Now. The Deep's phone buzzed. He checked it, and his expression shifted. Guys? The footage is going viral. Like, really viral. Deadpool Saves Store is trending #1. People are calling him a real hero. A-Train's jaw tightened. Madeline's gonna kill us if we beat him up on camera. Then we don't get caught on camera. A-Train grabbed Wade's arm. Move. Fast. Wade let them escort him toward a waiting van. Around them, phones were coming out. People were watching, recording. The footage from the convenience store was already everywhere, spreading faster than Vought could suppress it. Comments scrolled past on nearby screens. Finally, a hero who actually helps people. Why aren't the 7 doing this? Who is this guy? Wade smiled under his mask. Going viral hadn't been the plan, but he could work with it. The conference room on the 72nd floor had floor-to-ceiling windows and a table that could seat 40. Wade sat alone at one end while Madeline paced at the other, tablet in hand, heels clicking against marble. A wall of monitors showed news coverage, social media feeds, 62 million views. Madeline didn't look up from her tablet. 17,000 news articles, trending in 43 countries. You're more viral than Starlight's debut. She finally met his eyes. Do you understand what you've done? Saved some people? Stopped a robbery? Basic superhero stuff? You've created a narrative we don't control. She tapped her tablet and the monitors changed. New headlines appeared. Mystery vigilante sparks debate on hero licensing. Who watches the Seven? Unauthorized soup raises questions about Vought monopoly. Wade leaned back. Sounds like people are asking good questions. Sounds like you're causing problems. Madeline swiped again. The footage shifted. Same convenience store, same fight, but edited. The angles were different. The speedster looked younger, more sympathetic. Wade's violence looked excessive. The voiceover changed context. Unregistered soup attacks compound Vive users in brutal assault. Victims hospitalized. 7 respond to contain threat. Wade watched his own actions reframed as villainy. That's not what happened. That's what happened on VNN, Vought News Network, 24-hour coverage, 50 million subscribers. Madeline smiled. We control the story, Wade. Always have. Your little viral moment? We're already spinning it. By tomorrow, you'll be the dangerous vigilante who attacked 2 young men struggling with addiction. The 7 will be the heroes who stopped you before you killed someone. Those young men were robbing a store at gunpoint. Not according to our witnesses. Another swipe. New interviews appeared. The strong soup, hand bandaged, looking traumatized. The speedster in a hospital bed, both giving tearful accounts of being attacked unprovoked by a masked maniac. The cashier from the store contradicted her own video, saying she felt threatened by Wade's violence. The teenager Citoyen claimed his livestream was edited, that he'd been scared. Wade's stomach dropped. You bought them? We protected them, provided medical care, legal representation, and a small settlement for their trauma. They're very grateful. Madeline sat across from him. This is how it works, Wade. We unhousable. Every bank will freeze your accounts. Every landlord will refuse you. You'll be fighting just to survive, let alone find your way home. I've survived worse. Have you survived a world where everyone thinks you're the villain? Madeline stood. You have 24 hours to sign. After that, we go to war. And Wade, we've never lost. She left. The door locked behind her. Wade sat alone with the monitors showing his character assassination in real time. Comment sections filled with hatred. Think pieces about dangerous unregistered soups, calls for stricter regulation. Vought had weaponized his heroism against him in 6 hours. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Text message. Roof, north side, 10 minutes. Come alone. A friend you haven't met yet. Wade stared at the message. Obvious trap. Definitely a trap. He stood and headed for the roof anyway because sitting still while Vought destroyed him wasn't an option. The rooftop was empty. Wind whipped across concrete, carrying the smell of the city below. Wade walked to the north edge, looking for, "Don't turn around." A woman's voice, tired, broken in ways that didn't show on camera. They're watching, always watching, but not here. I checked. Wade kept facing forward. Queen Maeve. Wasn't expecting the Seven's golden girl to be my mysterious texter. I'm not golden anymore. Haven't been for years. Maeve moved beside him, maintaining distance. Up close, she looked exhausted. The costume couldn't hide it. I saw what they did to your footage. The narrative spin. I've watched them do it 100 times. So you came to gloat? I came to warn you. Maeve lit a cigarette with shaking hands. Sign the contract, Wade. Just sign it. Play the game. Smile for the cameras. Do your appearances. Let them win. That's the warning? Give up? That's survival. She took a long drag. I was like you once. Thought I could change things from the inside. Be a real hero despite the corporate bullshit. You know what I got? 7 years of watching Homelander murder people while I smiled for photo ops. 7 years of letting Vought bury crimes because fighting them meant losing everything. 7 years of becoming exactly what I hated. Wade looked at her, really looked. The perfect superhero exterior hiding a person who'd given up. What happened to you? Vought happened. Homelander happened. Reality happened. Maeve flicked ash over the edge. You think you're different, special, unkillable, so you've got nothing to fear. But they don't need to kill you, Wade. They just need to make you irrelevant, powerless, alone. And they're very good at it. So you're saying I should just accept it? Become another one of their puppets? I'm saying pick your battles. You can't fight the whole system. Nobody can. She turned to leave, paused. But if you're stupid enough to try anyway, don't trust anyone in this building, especially not the other heroes. We're all compromised, all complicit. Her voice dropped to barely audible. Except maybe Starlight. She's still... God, she still believes. Give her a few more months. Maeve walked away. The roof door closed. Wade was alone again. His phone buzzed. Different number, new text. She's right about one thing. You can't fight Vought alone. But you're not alone. There are others. People who've been fighting this fight longer than you've been in this universe. Come to the address below if you want to actually do something. Otherwise, enjoy your corporate overlords. Someone who gives a damn. An address in Brooklyn. No signature, no context. Wade looked at the message, then at the city, then at Vought Tower stretching above him. Every floor filled with cameras and corporate evil and manufactured heroes. Madeline's ultimatum. Maeve's defeat. Starlight's fading hope. 24 hours to sign or be destroyed. Or option 3. Meet the mysterious person who thought they could fight Vought and win. Wade pocketed his phone and headed for the stairs. Definitely a trap. But maybe the interesting kind. The Brooklyn address led to an abandoned restaurant in Red Hook. Graffiti covered the walls. Windows boarded up. The kind of place people avoided after dark. Wade picked the lock on the back door and entered with both katanas drawn, because he wasn't stupid. Well, the interdimensional fuck-up who's got Vaught's knickers in a twist. I'm Butcher, Billy Butcher, and you're either very brave or very stupid. Option 3. Very desperate and slightly insane. Wade scanned the others. A black man in tactical gear, methodical and calm. A Frenchman with wild hair and wilder eyes. A young guy who looked like he'd wandered in from a college campus. And a woman who hadn't said a word but watched Wade with predatory focus. Let me guess. The Resistance. Freedom fighters. Plucky underdogs fighting the corporate machine. We kill soups. Butcher said it casually. Matter of fact. That's what we do. That's all we do. Government tried to shut us down. Vought tried to bury us. And we're still here because someone needs to put these superpowered cunts in the ground. The calm one spoke. I'm MM, Mother's Milk. That's Frenchie. That's Huey. And she's Kimiko. He nodded to each in turn. And before you judge, you should know why we do this. I've seen your show, remember? I know about Compound V, about Vought manufacturing soups, about Homelander's body count. Wade lowered his katanas slightly. I know you're not the bad guys here. Question is, what do you want with me? Information. Butcher pulled out a tablet, showed Wade surveillance footage, Vought facilities, research labs, black sites. You mentioned dimensional rifts, said you came through one. We've been tracking Vaught's black budget projects for 2 years, and 6 months ago, they started pouring money into something called Project Gateway. He swiped through images. Complex machinery, scientists in clean suits. They're playing with some science fiction bollocks, dimensional research, multiverse theory, and you dropping through a portal in Times Square? That's not coincidence, mate. Wade's attention sharpened. You're saying Vought caused the rift? We're saying, is they're studying it, maybe trying to replicate it. Frenchie leaned forward, excited. Imagine an entire multiverse of soups to recruit or control or weaponize. Very Vought. They've got a facility in New Jersey. Brought up blueprints on another tablet. Heavy security, off books, no official records. We've been planning a run at it for weeks, but it's suicide without inside help. Huey shifted uncomfortably. That's where you come in. You've been inside Vought Tower. You've met Madeline, Homelander, the Seven. You know their security, their procedures, and you... He hesitated. You can't die, right? The healing factor? That's real? Painfully real. Wade sheathed his katanas. But let's be clear about something. I don't kill. Well, I kill sometimes. Okay, I kill a lot, but only bad guys who really deserve it. Butcher's smile sharpened. Not asking you to, just asking if you want to get home. Because that facility, that's your best shot. They've got your rift data, research, maybe even the tech to open another portal. He stepped closer. But we both know Vaught's not giving it to you out of the kindness of their hearts. You want it? You take it. Wade considered. Every instinct screamed trap. Butcher was dangerous, possibly unhinged, definitely operating from a place of trauma and rage. But he wasn't wrong. Vought had the answers Wade needed, and they'd made it clear those answers came with a leash attached. What's the play? We infiltrate the facility. You're the distraction. Vaught's already tracking you, expecting you to run. We slip in while they're focused on you, steal the research, get you home, and blow their dimensional gateway to hell so they can't pull any more surprises from other universes. Butcher extended his hand. One job. You help us, we help you. Then we part ways, and you forget you ever met us. And if I say no? Then you sign Vaught's contract, become their puppet, and spend the rest of your unnatural life selling action figures while Homelander murders people on camera. MM's voice was flat. Your choice. Wade looked at the extended hand, at Butcher's calculating eyes, at the team behind him, broken people fighting an unwinnable war because nobody else would. He'd been here before. Different universe, same dynamic. The system was broken. The powerful were corrupt. And someone had to do something. He shook Butcher's hand. One job. But we do this my way. Minimal casualties. No civilians endangered. And if anyone on your team goes full psycho, I'm out. Deal. Butcher released his grip. Frenchie, show him the plans. Confirm the security schedules. Huey, stop looking like you're about to piss yourself. And Kimiko. He glanced at the silent woman. She signed something rapid. Butcher nodded. She says you fight well. For someone with healing factor, you don't rely on it. Shows discipline. Wade signed back in ASL. Trained by the best. Fought the worst. Survived everything between. Kimiko's eyes widened. She signed, You know ASL? Had a friend. Taught me between attempts to murder me. Long story. For 3 hours they planned. Blueprints spread across tables, guard rotations analyzed, entry points debated. Wade contributed what he knew about Vaught's security protocols, their response times, their blind spots. The plan came together. Hit the facility tomorrow night during a scheduled inspection when half the guards would be occupied. Wade would trigger alarms on the east side while the boys entered from the west, smash and grab, in and out before Vought could mobilize the Seven. It was a terrible plan with a dozen ways to fail. Wade loved it. One question, Huey spoke up. What about Homelander? If he shows up, he won't. Butcher's certainty was absolute. Tomorrow night, Homelander's got a charity gala. Red carpet, cameras, the whole show. He won't miss it for a break-in at some black site. His ego won't let him. And if you're wrong, Then our new friend here gets to test if that healing factor works against laser eyes. Butcher clapped Wade's shoulder. But don't worry, I'm never wrong. Wade's phone buzzed. Vought security alert. His absence from the tower had been noticed. Lockdown initiated. Security teams mobilized. He showed the screen to Butcher. You've got maybe 10 minutes before they track you here. Then we move fast. Butcher grabbed his jacket. Meet at these coordinates tomorrow, 2100 hours. Come alone. Come ready. And Wade? He paused at the door. Thanks for what you did at that convenience store, for showing people what a real hero looks like, even if it was stupid and reckless and got you on Vaught's shit list. Stupid and reckless is kind of my brand. The boys filed out through different exits. Professional, practiced. Wade waited 60 seconds, then left through the back. The street was quiet. Too quiet. He'd made it 3 blocks when he felt it, that specific pressure of being watched. Not cameras, not drones. Something closer, more patient. Wade stopped walking, turned slowly. The alley behind him was empty, but the shadows were wrong. Too deep, too still. Wade's hand moved to his katana. A figure detached from the darkness, all black, no face visible, moving with absolute silence. Black Noir stepped into the streetlight, head tilted, assessing. Wade drew his weapons. Let me guess. Vought sent you to bring me back. Alive if possible, dead if necessary. Very professional. Very intimidating. One problem, though. Black Noir said nothing. Just stood there, waiting. I don't do well with authority. Black Noir moved first. No warning, no posturing, just pure efficiency. He closed the distance in 2 steps, fist driving toward Wade's throat. Wade twisted, felt knuckles graze his trachea instead of crushing it, brought his katana up in a diagonal slash. Noir bent backward, spine flexing impossibly, the blade passing millimeters from his chest. His counter came instantly, a kick that caught Wade in the ribs, launching him through a chain-link fence. Wade hit concrete rolling, already healing the 3 broken ribs. He came up slashing, both katanas creating a web of steel. Noir dodged, blocked, redirected each strike with minimal movement. No wasted energy. Every motion calculated. This wasn't a brawler. This was an artist. They collided in the center of the alley. Blade met reinforced glove. Noir's strength was superhuman, but controlled, each block precisely measured to deflect rather than overpower. Wade adapted, switching from power strikes to speed, testing angles, looking for openings. Noir gave him nothing. A faint high, strike low. The katana punched through Noir's thigh. Wade felt it hit bone, twist, and Noir grabbed the blade, pulled himself closer along its length, drove his fist into Wade's face. Wade's nose exploded, orbital bone shattered. His left eye socket caved inward. He tasted blood and bone fragments. The world went white with pain, then red as his healing factor surged. He dropped the embedded katana and drew a pistol with his free hand, fired 3 rounds point blank into Noir's chest. The bullets flattened against armor. Noir didn't even flinch. He grabbed Wade's gun hand, twisted until bones snapped, and hurled Wade into a dumpster hard enough to leave a body-shaped dent in the metal. Wade's spine had compressed on impact, vertebrae cracked. Healing factor worked overtime, each nerve ending screaming as it reconnected. He rolled out of the dumpster as Noir landed where he'd been, feet first, boots denting steel. Wade drew his backup katana and his combat knife circling. His broken hand had healed enough to grip. His face had reconstructed itself. Noir pulled Wade's first katana from his thigh, examined it briefly, then threw it aside. No blood. The wound had already sealed. Enhanced healing too. Wade spat blood. Great. We're basically the same person except you work for fascists and I have better one-liners. Noir responded by hurling a trash can. Wade ducked. The can exploded against brick behind him. Noir used the distraction to close distance again, and they were back in close combat. Knife against fist, katana against forearm guards. Wade went for killing strikes. Throat, eyes, joints. Noir blocked everything, countered with surgical precision. A palm strike to Wade's sternum stopped his heart for 4 seconds. Wade's healing factor restarted it while he was still fighting, adrenaline and regeneration keeping him upright through cardiac arrest. He got Noir's mask, sliced it open from temple to jaw, caught a glimpse of scarred skin beneath before Noir's elbow shattered his jaw. Wade's mandible hung loose, tongue lolling. He kept fighting anyway, slashing wildly while his face rebuilt itself, teeth erupting from gums, bone knitting together with wet, grinding sounds. They fought through the alley, into the street, across a parking lot. Wade took damage that would kill normal humans 10 times over. Noir absorbed punishment that would hospitalize most soups. Neither slowed. Neither stopped. It was mathematics. Force meets force. Regeneration meets durability. An equation with no solution. Wade's tactical vest was shredded. His suit hung in ribbons. Blood soaked everything, his own and none of Noir's. He'd been decapitated twice. Once by Noir slamming a car hood on his neck, once by a perfectly placed strike that severed his spine at C2. Both times, his healing factor dragged him back from the edge, consciousness flickering but never fully extinguishing. His head reattached. His spine fused. He kept coming. Noir's armor was cracked. His movements were minimally slower, fatigue setting in despite enhancement. He'd broken Wade 47 times by Wade's count, and Wade had gotten back up 47 times. The message was clear. You can't kill what won't die. Stalemate confirmed. Returning to tower. Subject too durable for containment. Recommend alternative measures. Wade read it, laughed painfully. Your bosses won't like that answer. They don't like problems they can't solve with violence. Noir typed again. You're not a problem. You're a complication. Problems get eliminated. Complications get managed. That's actually kind of ominous. Wade's ribs finished healing, his vision cleared. Let me guess. They're going to escalate. Noir nodded once, put his phone away, turned and walked toward the street where a black SUV was pulling up. He paused, looked back, and gave Wade the smallest nod. Respect. Fighter to fighter. Then he was gone, climbing into the vehicle that sped away into the night. Wade collapsed against a concrete barrier. Every muscle screamed. His healing factor had burned through calories he didn't have. He needed food, water, and about 12 hours of unconsciousness. Instead, he pulled out his phone with shaking hands and texted Butcher. Vought knows I'm working with you. Black Noir just field tested me. We're blown. Move the timeline up or abort. The response came in seconds. Can't abort. Already in motion. Facility hit happens tonight. 0200 hours. Be ready or don't. Your call. Wade checked the time. 11:47 p.m. 2 hours and 13 minutes to recover from getting killed multiple times and mount an assault on a Vought black site. He laughed, tasted blood, and started walking toward the nearest bodega. Needed calories. Needed weapons. Needed his head examined for agreeing to this. His phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Video message. Wade opened it. Homelander filled the screen, sitting in what looked like his private quarters. That smile. Those dead eyes. Hi, Wade. Heard you had fun with Noir. He says you're tough. I believe him. But here's the thing about being tough. Doesn't matter if you can. But die when everyone around you can. The camera panned, showed Starlight, unconscious, restrained in some kind of medical chair. She's fine. Sedated. Comfortable. But if you're not back in Vought Tower by midnight, I'm going to start seeing how much of her I can laser off before she stops screaming. The camera returned to his face. Your choice, Wade. Be a hero, sign the contract, or watch someone who actually matters die, knowing you could have prevented it. The video ended. Wade stared at the screen, at Starlight's unconscious form. Butcher's mission, or Vaught's hostage, The research that could get him home, or the person who'd shown him kindness in this nightmare universe. No-win scenario. Classic Vought. Wade started running toward Vought Tower. He had 12 minutes. Wade hit Vought Tower at 11:56, 4 minutes to spare. He was still bleeding from 17 places. His suit was destroying evidence of his fight with Noir, and he'd stolen a hot dog from a street vendor because his healing factor was burning calories faster than he could replace them. The lobby guards didn't even try to stop him. They just pointed toward the elevator, faces carefully neutral. They knew. Everyone knew. This was expected. The elevator rose in silence. Wade ate the hot dog, checked his katanas. One missing, one cracked. His guns were empty. He had a combat knife, 3 smoke grenades, and the growing certainty that he was walking into something very bad. The elevator opened on the 79th floor. Homelander's personal level. No cameras here, no witnesses, just expensive furniture and floor-to-ceiling windows showing the city below. Homelander stood in the center of the room, backlit by Manhattan's glow. Starlight was in a medical chair behind him, still unconscious, IV in her arm. Alive. Wade focused on that. She was alive. 11:58. Homelander checked his watch. Cutting it close. I'm impressed. Noir said you were half dead when he left you. Healing factor must be working overtime. Where's the contract? Wade kept his hands visible. That's the deal, right? I sign, she goes free. Everyone's happy except me. See, that's the thing about deals. Homelander walked toward him slowly. They only work when both parties have something to lose. You can't die, makes you very hard to negotiate with. But her? He gestured at Starlight. She's fragile, human, well, soup, but you know what I mean. And breakable. I'm here. I came. Let her go. You're here because I made you come. Big difference. Homelander circled Wade like a shark. You know what I realized watching your little vigilante act? You care. Actually care about people. It's disgusting and inconvenient and very You heard me. Kneel, right here, in front of me. Acknowledge that I'm better than you. Stronger, more important. That in this universe, I'm the hero and you're just some refugee who needs my permission to exist. Homelander's smile was surgical. Do that, and maybe I don't kill Starlight in front of you. Maybe. I'm not great with promises. Ask Madeline. Homelander's eyes started to glow faintly. Clock's ticking, Wade. Midnight in 30 seconds. Kneel or watch her die. Your choice. Wade looked at Starlight, at her unconscious face. She'd been kind to him in a universe that wasn't. Had warned him about Vought. Still believed in actual heroism despite everything this place had done to break her. And now she was here because of him. Because he'd been visible. Made himself a problem. Given Homelander a pressure point. He looked at Homelander. At the barely contained violence behind the smile. The ego so vast it had its own gravity. The absolute certainty that he was untouchable. Wade dropped to one knee. There we go. Homelander's smile widened. Now say it. Say I'm the real hero. You're... Wade's phone buzzed. Homelander's eyes flicked toward the sound, irritation crossing his face. Wade pulled it out slowly. Text from Butcher. North Wall, 3 seconds. Cover your ears. Wade looked up at Homelander. Actually, I've got a better line. The North Wall exploded. Frenchie's charges blew precisely, shaped explosive designed to direct force inward. The blast hurled furniture across the room. Windows shattered. Smoke filled the space. Wade rolled, grabbed Starlight's chair, and hauled it toward the hole in the wall where MM was already reaching through. Huey behind him with a rappelling rig. Go! Wade shoved the chair through. MM caught it, started lowering Starlight down the exterior. Wade turned back. Homelander stood in the smoke, completely unharmed, eyes fully glowing now. You stupid son of a... Wade threw both smoke grenades. Yeah, I get that a lot. He dove through the hole as laser vision carved the air where he'd been. The exterior of Vought Tower was all glass and steel. Wade grabbed the rappel line, felt it take his weight, and started descending. Above, Homelander appeared in the hole, eyes blazing. You think you can run from me? His voice echoed across Midtown. I'm the Homelander. I'm the hero. A news helicopter swung into view. Camera pointed directly at Homelander standing in the destroyed wall of his own tower, eyes glowing, screaming into the night. The pilot's voice crackled over loudspeaker. This is Channel 7 News. We're getting reports of an explosion at Vought Tower. Homelander, can you comment? Homelander's rage flickered. He looked at the camera, at the live broadcast, at the millions of people watching. His expression smoothed instantly into concern. There's been an incident. Everyone remain calm. The Seven have this under control. He looked down at Wade, still descending. That smile returned. The perpetrators will be brought to justice. Wade reached the ground where Butcher had a van waiting. Was already inside with Starlight. Kimiko gestured frantically. Move! Huey was unhooking the rappel gear. Wade climbed in as the van screeched away from Vought Tower. That was mental, Butcher laughed from the driver's seat. Absolutely fucking mental. Did you see his face when the wall blew? We're so dead. Huey clutched his seatbelt. We just assaulted Vought Tower, kidnapped Starlight. Homelander's going to do nothing. Was checking Starlight's vitals. Not publicly, not with cameras watching. Vaught's whole brand is control. They can't admit someone just robbed them. Wade's phone exploded with notifications, news alerts, social media. The footage of Homelander screaming from his destroyed tower was already viral. Homelander meltdown trending, comments flooding in. What happened? Who attacked Vought? Why does Homelander look so angry? Madeline's number called. Wade declined it. She called again. He declined again. Third time he answered. You've made a very serious mistake. Her voice was ice. Kihas, napping, terrorism, assault on corporate property. We will bury you. Legally, socially, physically. There is nowhere in this world you can hide. Cool speech. But here's the thing, Madeline. I don't need to hide. Wade looked out the window at the city passing by. I just need to get what I came for. The dimensional research. Project Gateway. Whatever you're hiding in that New Jersey facility. Silence. Then, how do you know about... Because I've got friends now. People who've been fighting you longer than I've been in this universe. And we're coming for your secrets. Wade smiled. Also, you might want to check the news. Homelander's having a moment. PR nightmare. You're welcome. He hung up. The van turned onto the expressway, heading toward New Jersey. Toward the facility. Toward answers. Behind them, Vought Tower blazed with lights, security mobilizing, the Seven assembling. Somewhere in that building, Homelander was being told he couldn't pursue, had to maintain appearances, had to smile for the cameras while his enemy escaped. Wade imagined his rage, his frustration, his absolute inability to do what he wanted because the world was watching. Good. Starlight groaned, consciousness returning. Her eyes opened, unfocused. What? Where? Hey, Starbright. Wade leaned into her view. You're safe. Well, safe-ish. We're in a van fleeing the most powerful corporation in this universe after rescuing you from the world's angriest Superman knockoff. But you're alive, and that's what matters. She blinked, processed. You came back for me. Yeah, well, couldn't let him kill the only person in this dimension who's been decent to me. Wade shrugged. Besides, I'm pretty sure you're going to be important later. Main character energy. It's a whole thing. Butcher's phone rang. He answered, listened, and his expression darkened. When? How many? A pause. Fuck. Fuck. He hung up, met Wade's eyes in the rearview mirror. The facility. Vaught's moving everything. They're clearing it out right now. We've got maybe 30 minutes before it's empty. Then drive faster. Wade checked his remaining weapons. 1 cracked katana, 1 knife, 3 bullets. His healing factor was still recovering. He'd been awake for 20 hours, fought Black Noir to a standstill, and just robbed Vought Tower. Every muscle ache. His regeneration was slowing, and they were about to assault a black site facility with minimal weapons, no backup, and Vought knowing they were coming. "This is a terrible plan," Huey said. "Yup." Wade loaded his last 3 bullets. "But it's the only plan we've got." The New Jersey facility looked like a pharmaceutical warehouse from the outside. Wade counted at least 20 armed personnel visible, probably double that inside. "Frenchie, you're up." Butcher killed the van's lights a quarter-mile out. Frenchie pulled out a laptop, fingers dancing across keys. "Security grid is... Merde, this is proper military encryption. Give me 5 minutes." "We don't have 5 minutes." Pointed at the facility. Trucks were pulling up to the loading bay, personnel moving with urgent efficiency. "They're evacuating the research, now." Wade watched equipment being loaded, computers, hard drives, something large covered in tarps. "We go in loud, create chaos, grab what we can." "That's suicide," Huey's voice cracked. "There's 20 guards with automatic weapons, and we've got..." He looked at their arsenal. 1 cracked sword and Wade's terrible life choices. "I've survived worse with less." Wade opened the van door. "Besides, I literally can't die. And you've got Kimiko, who's basically a murder ballerina. We'll be fine." Kimiko signed. "I like him." "Nobody's going to be fine." Starlight sat up, still groggy from sedation. "But he's right. If Vaught's moving the research, this is our only shot." She looked at her hands. "And I can still fight, mostly. You just got kidnapped by Homelander." Frowned. "You should sit this out." "I've been sitting out for 3 months, watching Vought lie and manipulate and hurt people while I smiled for cameras." Starlight's hands glowed faintly. "I'm done sitting out." Butcher grinned. "That's the spirit. Right then. Frenchie, give us 30 seconds of darkness when I say. You and Kimiko take the north entrance. Huey, you're with me on the south. Starlight, Wade, you two go straight through the front and make noise." "The front," Wade repeated. "The place with all the guards and guns." "You said you can't die." "I said I can't die. Doesn't mean I enjoy not dying. There's a different rents." "Clock's ticking." "Starlight, when I kick that door open, light them up. Literally, blind everyone. I'll handle the rest." "That's not much of a plan. I'm more of an improviser." They approached from the east, using shipping containers for cover. The front entrance had 2 guards visible, both armed with assault rifles. Security cameras tracked in programmed patterns. Wade waited for the sweep, counted to 3, and sprinted. Starlight followed, light gathering in her palms. The guards turned, raised weapons. Wade hit the door with his shoulder, shattering the lock, and rolled inside as bullets chewed through the space he'd occupied. Starlight's blast lit the entrance like a flashbang. Guards screamed, blinded. Wade came up slashing, katana taking out kneecaps and gun hands. Not killing, disabling. They dropped. Alarms shrieked, red lights pulsed. The facility interior was sterile white corridors and reinforced doors. Wade ran toward the largest concentration of activity, following the sound of equipment being moved. Starlight covered his 6, blasting anyone who rounded corners. Her aim was precise, controlled. This wasn't her first fight. They burst into the main lab. Wade stopped. The space was massive, 3 stories tall, walls lined with computers and monitoring equipment. But the center was wrong. A massive ring structure dominated the room, 30 feet in diameter, suspended vertically. The interior of the ring shimmered like heat distortion, reality bending around it. Wade recognized it immediately. A dimensional portal, inactive but functional. And around it, in medical restraints, were people. 6 of them, different ages, different builds, all unconscious, all connected to monitoring equipment. Wade moved closer, saw the details that made his stomach drop. One had web shooters on their wrists. Another wore a tattered cape. A third had adamantium claws extending from their knuckles. Oh no, Wade's voice was hollow. They're not studying dimensional rifts. They're hunting. Scientists scattered as Butcher's team breached from the north entrance. Kimiko moved like flowing violence, clearing a path. provided covering fire, but Wade couldn't look away from the captives, from the other universe heroes Vought had pulled through and captured. A voice over the intercom. Lockdown initiated, security teams converging. Subject retrieval in progress. Starlight grabbed Wade's arm. We need to move. Get the research and go. We can't leave them. We can't save them if we're dead. She pulled harder. Wade, please. We came for the research. Grab it and we leave. That's the mission. Wade looked at the portal, at the captives, at the computer banks holding the research that could send him home, then at the door where footsteps were approaching. Heavy boots, many of them. Butcher appeared, arms full of hard drives. Got the data. Main servers wiped, but I grabbed what I could. We need to go now. The main doors exploded inward. A-train blurred in, followed by the Deep. Behind them, a dozen armed guards in tactical gear. The speedster smiled. Vought sends its regards. Wade positioned himself between the heroes and the captive interdimensional travelers. His katana felt inadequate. His healing factor was already taxed. He had 3 bullets and a death wish. Butcher, get everyone out. Take the research. Not leaving you, mate. Not asking. Wade met his eyes. You've got what you came for. I've got what I need to do. Which is? Buy you time. Make Vought pay attention to me while you run. Basic distraction tactics. Wade smiled under his mask. Besides, they can't kill me. Worst they can do is make it hurt. A-Train cracked his knuckles. We can make it hurt a lot. Starlight stepped beside Wade, hands glowing. Then you'll have to hurt both of us. Starlight, no! You came back for me. I'm not leaving you. She faced the 7 members, faced her former teammates. Annie January is done being silent. Done letting Vought win. Done pretending you're heroes when you're just corporate enforcers. The Deep raised his hands placatingly. Annie, don't do this. You attack us. There's no coming back. Vought will destroy you. They already did. Her voice was steel. I just didn't notice until someone showed me what real heroism looked like. A-Train blurred forward. Wade met him mid-stride, katana flashing. The speedster dodged, but Wade had anticipated, redirecting his slash into a trap. The blade caught A-Train's leg, cutting deep. The soup went down tumbling, momentum betraying him. The Deep launched forward, but Kimiko intercepted, signing something that Wade didn't catch before she introduced Deep's face to her fist. The tactical team opened fire. Wade felt bullets punch through him, each one a separate scream of pain as his healing factor struggled to keep pace. He went down on one knee, then both, staying upright through pure stubbornness. Starlight's light burst filled the room, buying them seconds. Frenchie appeared with Huey, both carrying one of the unconscious interdimensional prisoners. The others! Wade gestured. Get them out! No time! Butcher was at the portal controls, smashing equipment. Facilities about to go into full lockdown. Steel shutters, gas deployment. We leave now or we don't leave. Wade looked at the remaining captives, at the portal technology, at Vought's entire operation laid bare, then at his team struggling against the 7 unarmed guards. Impossible math. Couldn't save everyone, couldn't stop everything. Had to choose. The intercom crackled, Madeline's voice. Wade Wilson, you've proven remarkably troublesome. But this ends now. Homelander is en route. ETA 2 minutes. I suggest you run. 2 minutes before the angriest soup alive arrived. Wade made his choice. Frenchie, can you overload the portal? We, but why would... Comprehension dawned. You want to destroy it? With style? Wade grabbed explosive charges from Frenchie's bag, started placing them on the portal structure. If I can't have dimensional travel, neither can Vought. Set it to overload and blow, maximum dramatic effect. That will destabilize local spacetime, could cause secondary rifts, very dangerous. Perfect. Wade placed the last charge. Everyone out. Now. The portal hummed, grew brighter. The air tasted like ozone and mathematics. Reality started bending, warping, the overload cascading through Vought's carefully controlled technology. 20 seconds. Wade stumbled into the corridor. Ahead, his team was almost to the exit. Behind, the portal screamed with barely contained energy. 15 seconds. A red and blue blur appeared in the doorway ahead. Homelander. Homelander's landing cracked the floor. He straightened slowly, cape settling, that smile plastered across his face. But his eyes were murder. Pure, distilled rage barely contained by a lifetime of media training and ego management. The facility shook as the portal's overload intensified. 10 seconds. You know what the funny thing is? Homelander's voice was conversational. Friendly, even. I was actually going to let you live. Sign the contract. Be our little mascot. Make your appearances. But you had to be difficult. He took a step forward. You had to embarrass me. On camera. In front of the entire world. Wade pushed himself upright against the wall. His healing factor was sputtering. Too much damage. Too fast. His body was trying to regenerate 17 bullet wounds, 3 broken ribs, and a partially collapsed lung simultaneously. That's the problem with people like you. Can't stand anyone who won't kneel. I'm giving you one chance. Homelander's eyes started glowing. Tell me how to stop the overload. Save this facility. Sign the contract. Live. Or what? You'll kill me? Wade laughed, tasted blood. Can't kill what won't die, remember? Your pet assassin already tried. 8 seconds. Behind Homelander, Wade could see his team frozen in the corridor. Butcher calculating odds. Covering Huey. Starlight's hands glowing, ready to fight even though it was suicide. Kimiko signing frantically. Leave him! Run! Wade shook his head slightly. Not at her, at the situation. At the impossible math. Homelander was faster than A-Train, stronger than everyone. Bulletproof, laser eyes, flight. An actual god playing dress-up as a hero. And Wade? Wade was a guy with swords and a healing factor that was currently failing him. But Homelander had a weakness. Everyone was watching. Wade pulled out his phone with shaking hands. Hit record, aimed it at Homelander. Hey everyone, Wade Wilson here, coming to you live from a Vought Black site where they've been kidnapping people from other dimensions. Say hi to Homelander, everyone. He's here to kill me for exposing his bosses. 6 seconds. Homelander's eyes flared brighter. Put the phone down. Why? Afraid of bad press? Wade kept recording, kept his voice loud. Want to know what I found in there? 6 people, prisoners, pulled from other universes and experimented on, just merchandise to Vought, just test subjects. Because to you people, anyone with powers is either a product or a threat. You don't know what you're talking about. Homelander moved closer, trying to stay calm for the camera, but his hands were clenched, his jaw tight. This is an authorized research facility conducting important... It's a prison. You're a corporation masquerading as heroes, and everyone watching this needs to know the truth. Wade met his eyes, didn't blink. You're not heroes. You're employees, sponsored, managed, controlled, and the second you stop being profitable, you're disposable. 4 seconds. Shut up. Homelander's voice dropped low. Dangerous. Shut up right now. Make me. Wade smiled behind his mask. Go ahead. Kill me on camera. Prove you're exactly what I'm saying you are. Prove Starlight right. Prove everyone who's ever questioned Vought right. Do it. 2 seconds. Homelander's control snapped. His eyes blazed fully red. Wade saw the laser vision coming, knew he couldn't dodge, knew this would hurt worse than anything yet. He kept the camera steady, kept recording, let the world see. The beams lanced toward his chest. Starlight's blast intercepted them. She stood between Wade and Homelander, hands blazing with light, deflecting the laser vision at an angle that carved through the ceiling instead of Wade's heart. No more! Her voice cracked with fury and tears and 3 months of swallowed compliance. No more watching you hurt people. No more pretending you're good. No more lies. Homelander stared at her, genuine shock on his face. Annie? My name is Starlight. She pushed more power into her blast, forcing him back a step. And I'm done being afraid of you. 0. The portal detonated. Reality screamed. The explosion wasn't fire or force, it was space-time itself rupturing. The dimensional gateway collapsed inward, then exploded outward in a wave of impossible colors and distorted physics. The blast wave hit like a truck made of broken mathematics. Wade felt his molecular structure try to exist in 3 dimensions at once. His healing factor didn't know how to fix being temporarily 4-dimensional. The facility's roof tore away. Walls crumbled. The shockwave rippled outward, visible from miles away as reality briefly forgot how to be real. News helicopters covering the incident at Vought facility caught everything. The explosion, the dimensional distortion, Homelander and Starlight mid-confrontation, Wade's crumpled form, the whole ugly truth broadcast live. Wade's consciousness flickered, in and out. He saw Homelander thrown backward by the blast, actually hurt for once. Saw Starlight shielding the others with her light, saw the facility collapsing, saw his phone still recording, somehow transmitting everything to the cloud before the signal died. Then he saw something else. Through the portal's dying energies, a rift, small, unstable, but there, opening from the dimensional cascade. Reality was torn, and for just a moment there was a gap between universes, a way through, a way home. It was closing, fast, seconds, maybe less. Wade tried to move. His body didn't respond. Too much damage. Healing factor overwhelmed. He'd pushed too far. Regeneration had limits, and he'd found them. His vision grayed. Butcher appeared above him, grabbing his arm. Up, you stubborn bastard! Building's coming down! The rift. Wade pointed with the arm that still worked. That's my way home. You can barely fucking stand! I heal. Eventually. Always do. Wade shoved Butcher. The rift was 20 feet away. 15. Wade crawled. His legs weren't working. His spine was compromised. He dragged himself across rubble and broken concrete, each movement agony, healing factor sputtering, consciousness fading. 10 feet. 5. The rift collapsed to the size of a basketball, then a softball, closing fast. Wade reached out, felt something grab his ankle. Homelander, half buried in rubble, face bloody, cape torn, looking more human than Wade had ever seen him, and infinitely more dangerous. "If I can't have you," Homelander's grip tightened, bones grinding. "Nobody can." The rift was the size of a fist. Wade looked at it, at his way home, at his universe where the X-Men existed and Vought didn't, where he had a life, friends, purpose, everything he'd lost when reality tore and dumped him here. Then he looked at Homelander's hand on his ankle, at the choice: escape or fight, run or finish this. The rift collapsed to nothing, gone. Wade's way home vanished. He laughed, bitter and exhausted, and absolutely done with everything. "You know what's funny? I was actually going to leave, get out of your corporate superhero hellscape and never look back." "Then you should have run faster." Homelander pulled himself up using Wade's leg. "Now you get to watch me kill your new friends before I kill." Wade's remaining katana punched through Homelander's hand, pinning it to the floor. Homelander screamed, actually screamed. Wade had seen the schematics Butcher showed him, knew about Vought's own research, knew that Homelander had exactly one weakness: his eardrums. Not invulnerable, just protected by PR and image and never actually being hurt enough to find out. Wade drove his thumb into Homelander's ear canal. Homelander's scream was inhuman. Rage and pain and absolute disbelief that someone had actually hurt him. He thrashed, laser vision firing wildly, carving through walls and ceiling. Wade rolled away as concrete rained down, his healing factor finally catching up, knitting bones and tissue just fast enough to keep him mobile. The katana stayed embedded in Homelander's hand, pinning him for precious seconds. Butcher grabbed Wade's collar and hauled him toward the exit. "Move your arse!" They ran through collapsing corridors. Behind them, Homelander's rage demolished what remained of the facility. Ahead, MM was pushing the others through an emergency exit. Starlight was supporting the unconscious interdimensional prisoner they'd managed to save, the one with the web shooters. Kimiko and Frenchie cleared the path. They burst into the night air as the facility's main structure imploded. The dimensional portal's death had destabilized the entire building. Steel beams twisted, concrete pulverized. What had been a warehouse became a crater in 30 seconds flat. Wade turned in time to see Homelander rise from the wreckage, hand bleeding, face contorted with pure hatred. Their eyes met across the destruction. Homelander raised his fist, started forward, then stopped. The sound of helicopter rotors, multiple helicopters, news crews circling like vultures, cameras everywhere, broadcast vans lining the perimeter, reporters shouting questions. The explosion had been visible from miles away. Emergency services were arriving. Police, fire. This wasn't a controlled environment anymore. This was public. Homelander's expression smoothed, his bleeding hand lowered. The smile returned, empty and practiced. He turned toward the nearest camera, spreading his arms in a gesture of heroic reassurance. "Everything is under control. There's been an incident, but the Seven have contained the threat. Please remain calm." "He's not coming after us." Huey stared. He's doing PR, because that's all he is." Wade watched Homelander address the cameras. "Image management, brand protection. He can't chase us with the world watching. Would look bad." They piled into the van. Butcher drove without lights, taking back roads. putting distance between them and the scene. Wade slumped against the window, watching his phone as notifications exploded. The footage he'd recorded, the confrontation with Homelander, the dimensional prisoners, Vought's black site, was spreading. Not just spreading, metastasizing. His video had uploaded to the cloud before the portal explosion. Now it was everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube. Mirrors appearing faster than Vought could take them down. Comments in the millions. Shares in the tens of millions. Homelander threatened to kill him on camera. Vought has been kidnapping people from other dimensions? Is this real? Please tell me this is real. Finally, someone standing up to the seven. Vought lied. Deadpool was right. Wade scrolled through the responses, watching his accidental revolution unfold in real time. News organizations were picking it up. International media, government officials demanding investigations. Vought's stock price was in free fall. The hashtags kept growing. #Project Gateway, #Vought Crimes, #Homelander Exposed. 60 million views in 20 minutes. Was monitoring his own phone. Every major news network is running it. Vought's trying to call it fake, deepfake, AI generated, but the metadata checks out. Too many sources, too many angles from the news choppers. They can't suppress this. Butcher laughed from the driver's seat. We actually did it. We actually fucking did it. Exposed the cunts on international television. Everyone knows what Vought is now. Knowing and doing something about it are different. Starlight was tending to the rescued prisoner, still unconscious but stable. Vought has lawyers, money, political connections. They'll spin this somehow. Let them try. Wade watched another video surface. News footage of T facility exploding. Of the dimensional distortion visible in the sky. Of Homelander retreating from the fight. But they can't unring this bell. People saw. People know. His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered on speaker. Madeline's voice was razor-sharp calm. Congratulations, Wade. You've successfully committed corporate terrorism, destroyed billions in research infrastructure, kidnapped a Vought employee. Starlight quit, Wade interrupted. She's not your employee anymore. And caused an international incident that will result in congressional hearings, federal investigations, and the complete dissolution of any goodwill you might have earned. Madeline continued without pause. I hope it was worth it. Was it worth exposing your dimensional kidnapping program? Yeah, kind of was. You destroyed your only way home. That rift was your ticket back to whatever universe you crawled out of. Now it's gone. Collapsed. The technology is destroyed. You're stuck here, Wade. Permanently. In a world where you've made enemies of the most powerful corporation on the planet. Her voice dropped. Was that worth it? Wade looked at the rescued prisoner, at Starlight, at the boys who'd risked everything to help him, at the footage still spreading, unstoppable now, showing the world what Vought really was. Yeah, he said quietly. Yeah, it was. Madeline was silent for 3 seconds. Then enjoy your victory. Because tomorrow, we start destroying you. Every second of your past, every mistake, every violent act. We'll paint you as a terrorist, a murderer, a threat to public safety. By the time we're done, you'll be the villain in every story, and Homelander will be the hero who tried to stop you. You can try? Wade smiled. But see, here's the thing about truth. Once it's out there, it's really hard to put back in the bottle. You can spin, you can manipulate, you can buy all the lawyers and politicians you want, but 60 million people saw what I saw. They know what you are now. 60 million people will forget in a week. We'll make sure of it. The call ended. The van drove through the night too, toward a safe house in Pennsylvania. Behind them, New Jersey lit up with emergency vehicles and news crews. Ahead, uncertainty. Wade had no home to return to, no portal, no way back to his universe. He was stuck in a world where corporate superheroes ruled and Homelander existed and Vought's reach extended everywhere. But he'd exposed them, hurt them, shown the world what they really were. His phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Just hundreds of them. Thousands. Messages from people who'd seen the footage, who'd watched him stand up to Homelander, who'd witnessed someone refusing to kneel. Wade leaned back, exhausted beyond measure, healing factor finally catching up with the damage. His body ached. His mind was foggy, but for the first time since falling through that dimensional rift, he didn't feel lost. He felt like he had purpose. So, Butcher glanced in the rearview mirror. You're stuck here. Vought wants you dead. Homelander definitely wants you dead. You've got no powers except being unkillable and annoying. What's the play? Wade looked at his phone. At the messages still flooding in, at the footage still spreading, at the world waking up to the truth about their heroes. We keep going. Keep exposing them. Keep fighting. He met Butcher's eyes. Because someone has to. And apparently, in this universe, that someone is a fourth-wall-breaking mercenary with a death wish and no plan. That's the worst plan I've ever heard. Good thing I specialize in terrible plans. Starlight's phone buzzed. She checked it, and her face went pale. Guys, you need to see this. She turned her screen around. A live broadcast from Vought Tower. Homelander standing at a podium, hand bandaged, looking somber and heroic. Madeline beside him. The seven arrayed behind in perfect formation. Homelander's voice was measured, concerned, perfect. Today, a dangerous individual attacked a Vought research facility. This person, aided by known terrorists, destroyed critical infrastructure and threatened innocent lives. Vought International stands with the American people in condemning this act of violence. We will work with federal authorities to bring these criminals to justice. And we will continue to keep you safe, because that's what heroes do. The press conference continued. Questions carefully planted. Answers perfectly scripted. Vought's machine spinning the narrative in real time, reframing Wade as the villain and themselves as the victims. But in the comments section of the live stream, people weren't buying it. Where's the footage Wade uploaded? Why aren't you addressing that? Why did Homelander threaten to kill him on camera? What about the dimensional prisoners? As show as the proof. The machine was fighting back, but the cracks were showing. Wade watched the broadcast, watched Homelander lie to the world with that perfect smile, and felt his resolve harden. Butcher? That offer to work with the boys, still open? Why? You ready to go to war with Vought? Wade looked at the screen. At Homelander's false sincerity, at Madeline's calculated smile, at the system designed to protect monsters and call them heroes. I'm already at war, just making it official. The safe house was a farmhouse 40 miles outside Philadelphia, isolated, defensible, off the grid. The kind of place the boys had used dozens of times before when hiding from Vaught's reach. Wade sat at a kitchen table covered in laptops and burner phones, watching his video hit 100 million views. Vaught's counter-narrative was everywhere. Professional, coordinated, massive. They'd deployed every resource, planted news stories, paid influencers, bot armies flooding social media with counter-messaging. Deepfake. Terrorist propaganda. AI-generated hoax. Their legal team was filing cease and desist orders. Their PR department was scheduling interviews. Their political connections were calling in favors. But the footage kept spreading. was monitoring law enforcement channels. FBI's opening an investigation into the facility. Real one, not Vought-controlled. Congressional committee announced hearings. This is bigger than they can suppress. They're not trying to suppress it anymore. Frenchie pointed to his screen. Look, Vought just released their own footage from the facility. Edited but they are controlling the narrative by participating in it. Wade watched Vaught's version. Same events, different framing. The dimensional prisoners were rescued specimens from unstable rifts. The research was protecting Earth from interdimensional threats. Wade was a violent extremist who destroyed containment protocols. Homelander was responding to a terrorist attack to say she'd been coerced. 24-hour news cycle is already shifting. People are getting confused about what actually happened. Then we give them clarity. Butcher pulled up a list of contacts. I've got reporters, real ones, people who've been investigating Vought for years but couldn't get sources. Now we've got proof. We go public, interviews, documentation, everything. They'll come after us. Huey was watching the door like Homelander might burst through any second. Legal, physical, they'll use everything. Let them. Wade stood, testing his regenerated body. The healing factor had finally caught up. Bones solid, wounds closed. He felt almost normal, if you didn't count being trapped in an alternate universe at war with a corporate superhero conglomerate. Butcher's right. We go public, tell the truth, make it impossible to ignore. His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered carefully. Wade Wilson's terrible life choices. How may I direct your call? Mr. Wilson. A woman's voice. Professional. Unfamiliar. My name is Victoria Newman. I'm a congresswoman from New York, and I chair the Federal Superhero Oversight Committee. I've seen your footage, all of it, the unedited version, and I'd like to talk. Wade put her on speaker. Talk about what? How Vought's going to make me disappear? Talk about testifying, under oath, in front of Congress, about everything you saw in that facility, everything you know about Vought's dimensional research program. A pause. I've been trying to build a case against Vought for 2 years. You just handed me the smoking gun, but I need you alive and willing to talk. And why should I trust you? For all I know, you're on Vought's payroll. Because I'm the only congresswoman who voted against the Superhero Registration Act. Because I've blocked 3 bills that would have given Vought more power. And because if you sue, heck my voting record, you'll see I'm the one person in Washington they can't buy. Her voice hardened. I want Vought accountable. I want Homelander in a cell. And I want the truth about Compound V in the public record. Do you? Wade looked at Butcher. The older man nodded slowly. Wade thought about the masked life, the anonymity that let him operate without consequences, the fourth wall that separated him from the reality of what he did. Going public meant giving that up, meant being accountable, visible, permanently. I'll do it. Good. My office will be in touch with details. And Mr. Wilson, don't trust anyone. Vought has people everywhere. Stay alive until next week. She hung up. Silence in the kitchen. Then Huey. You're actually going to testify? In front of Congress? With your face visible? Why not? I've got nothing to hide except this. Wade touched his scarred face under the mask. And honestly, after everything this universe has thrown at me, my looks are the least of my problems. The TV in the corner switched to breaking news. Vought's stock had dropped 40%. Emergency board meeting announced. Protests forming outside Vought Tower. Celebrity soups being asked to comment. Some supporting Vought, others staying silent. The cracks were widening, but so was the backlash. Pro-Vought demonstrations appeared. Counter-protests. Social media divided into camps. Death threats against Wade flooded online. Doxing attempts. Bounties posted on dark web forums. Vought wasn't just fighting with PR anymore. They were mobilizing their base, weaponizing public opinion, turning this into a culture war. Mem's phone buzzed. He checked it, and his face went grim. We've got a problem. Someone leaked this location. It's on 3 message boards. Vought knows where we are. How long do we have? Butcher was already moving, grabbing weapons. Minutes, maybe less. Started shutting down computers. We need to move now. Kimiko signed. Outside. Movement in trees. Wade moved to the window. Through the darkness, he caught glints of reflection. Scopes, multiple positions, professional setup. Not Vought security. Something worse. Fuck that. We fight together. Can't fight if we're surrounded. You run, I distract, we regroup later. Basic tactics. Wade moved toward the front door. Besides, I'm the unkillable one. Makes me the perfect distraction. Wade, go! The windows exploded inward. Flashbangs, smoke grenades, professional breach and clear. Wade dove behind the table as bullets chewed through walls. His healing factor was ready this time. Prepared for the damage. He rolled through the smoke, slashing at leg levels, feeling his katana bite flesh. Someone screamed. Return fire. Wade felt 3 impacts, chest, shoulder, thigh, kept moving. Couldn't let them establish position, had to keep them focused on him while the others escaped. He burst through the smoke into the hallway. A contractor waited, rifle raised. Wade threw his katana. It punched through the man's Kevlar, dropping him. Wade grabbed the rifle, fired blind into the smoke, buying seconds. The back door slammed. Engine roared to life, tires on gravel. The others were out. Good. Now Wade just had to survive. 8 contractors, by his count. All armed, all professional, all here to kill him or capture him for Vought. Wade ducked into the kitchen, using the farmhouse's layout as cover. He knew this would hurt, knew he couldn't win against 8 trained operators with superior firepower. But he didn't need to win, just needed to survive long enough. A contractor rounded the corner. Wade shot him in the kneecap. The man dropped. Wade took his pistol and spare magazines, feeling bullets punch through his back as another contractor opened fire from behind. His lung collapsed. He ignored it, turned, fired, missed, fired again, hit. The farmhouse was a war zone. Smoke and gunfire and blood. Wade's blood, mostly. His healing factor struggled to keep pace. Each injury took longer to fix. He was burning through reserves, running on fumes. 4 contractors left. Wade barricaded himself in the bathroom. Terrible strategic position, but it bought him 10 seconds to reload and let his punctured liver regenerate. The door splintered under gunfire. Wade returned fire through the wood, heard a grunt of pain. Three left. His phone buzzed. Text from Butcher. Clear. Rendezvous point Charlie. Get out. Wade looked at the bathroom window. Too small for easy exit, but not impossible. He emptied the magazine through the door, keeping the contractors' heads down, then drove his elbow through the window glass. The frame was tight. He had to dislocate his shoulder to squeeze through. The bones ground against each other. He fell 8 feet to muddy ground and ran. Bullets chased him across the farmyard. One caught his calf, another grazed his skull. He kept running, healing factor working overtime, consciousness flickering but holding, made it to the tree line as headlights appeared on the access road. More vehicles, reinforcements. Wade ran through the woods, following the GPS coordinates to Rendezvous Point Charlie, some abandoned gas station 3 miles north. His body was failing. Healing factor couldn't keep up anymore. Too much damage too quickly. He'd pushed past his limits. He collapsed against a tree, trying to breathe with one functioning lung. His vision grayed, footsteps behind him, flashlights cutting through darkness. This was it. After everything. After fighting Homelander. After exposing Vought. After choosing to stay in this universe and fight. He was going to die in some Pennsylvania forest, alone. A hand grabbed his collar and hauled him upright. Kimiko. She'd come back, circled through the woods. Found him. She signed with one hand while supporting him with the other. Not leaving you. Wade tried to laugh, coughed blood instead, let her guide him through the trees toward where headlights waited, toward the boys, toward safety, toward the war they'd just declared. The safe house in Baltimore was better. Federal protection. Victoria Newman's doing. U.S. Marshals outside. Secure perimeter. The kind of safety that came with government resources instead of just Butcher. Yes, paranoia and stolen safe houses. Wade spent 3 days unconscious while his healing factor caught up with the accumulated damage. When he finally woke, Starlight was sitting by the bed reading congressional testimony guidelines. You look terrible, she said without looking up. Thanks. You should see the other guys. Wade sat up slowly. His body felt wrong, lighter. He looked down and saw fresh scars that hadn't fully faded. How long was I out? 72 hours. Butcher wanted to move you, but the doctor said your healing factor needed time to stabilize. You pushed it too far. She finally met his eyes. Kimiko said you were dying when she found you. I've died before. Always comes back from it eventually. That's not funny. Wasn't trying to be. Wade tested his limbs. Everything worked, mostly. What did I miss? Starlight handed him a tablet. News coverage filled the screen. The congressional hearing was scheduled for 2 days from now. Public event. Full media coverage. Vought had tried to block it, failed, then pivoted to demanding equal time for their side. The country was divided. Had believe Wade versus Hash stand with Vought. Protests and counter-protests. Cable news running 24-hour coverage. The footage from the facility had been analyzed frame by frame, experts weighing in, scientists discussing dimensional physics. Everyone had an opinion. You're famous, Starlight said. More famous than any of the 7 right now. People are calling you a hero, a terrorist, a whistleblower, a threat. Depends which channel you watch. What are they calling you? Traitor, mostly. Vaught's painting me as unstable, manipulated. They're saying you brainwashed me. She smiled without humor. My mother called. Said I was throwing away my career for some nobody in a mask. She's probably right. Your mother sounds terrible. She is. Starlight stood, walked to the window. But she's not wrong. I had everything. Fame, money, a spot in the 7, and I threw it away because you showed me it was all built on lies. She turned. Was it worth it? Wade thought about his own universe, about the XM, and who'd never fully trusted him. About being an outcast even among outcasts, about spending years as a mercenary because that's what people like him did when they didn't fit anywhere else. Then he thought about this universe, about Starlight's genuine heroism trapped in Vaught's machine, about people with powers being commodified and controlled, about Homelander's smile while he committed atrocities. The door opened. Butcher entered with both carrying files. He's awake. Good. We've got work to do. Butcher dropped a folder on Wade's bed. That's Vaught's witness list. They're bringing in 15 people to testify against you. Scientists, security personnel, the 2 soups you stopped at the convenience store, all saying you're violent, unstable, dangerous. I mean, they're not wrong about the dangerous part. They're also bringing character witnesses for Homelander. People he's saved. Families he's helped. Making him look like Captain America while painting you as a psychopath. Added another folder. And they've got footage. Edited versions of your fights. Every violent thing you've done since arriving here, cut to make you look like a monster. Wade flipped through the files. Professional character assassination. Vaught's lawyers had been busy. So, they're going full scorched earth. They're desperate. Butcher grinned. Which means we're winning. They wouldn't fight this hard if they weren't scared. Frenchie appeared in the doorway. The other one is awake. The one we saved from the facility. He is asking for you. Wade followed him to another room. The rescued prisoner was sitting up in bed, younger than Wade expected. Early 20s maybe. Brown hair, confused eyes, and on his wrists, mechanical web shooters that looked homemade but functional. You're Spider-Man. Wade said it as statement, not question. The kid blinked. How did you... I mean, yes? Maybe. I was Spider-Man, in my universe. Here I don't know what I am. His accent was different. British. They pulled me through 3 months ago, said they were studying the rifts, needed to understand how we crossed over. Then they just kept me, ran tests, took samples. His hands shook. Where am I? Baltimore. You're safe. Vought can't reach you here. Wade pulled up a chair. What's your name? Peter Parker. And you're Wade Wilson, the guy who blew up the facility. Peter looked down. Thank you for getting me out. I thought I'd die there. How many others were there in the facility? 6 of us when I arrived. They took 2 away last month. Said they were being transferred. I don't know if... Peter's voice cracked. Are they dead? Peter met his eyes. Young, scared. But under that, Wade saw steel. The same quality that made people put on masks and fight crime despite every reason not to. If it helps stop them from doing this to anyone else, yes, I'll testify. Over the next 2 days they prepared. Victoria Newman's team coached them on testimony protocols. What to say, how to say it, when to defer to legal counsel. Wade practiced removing his mask. The physical act was easy, but the psychological weight of showing his scarred face to millions was harder. Starlight rehearsed her statement about Vought's internal culture. Peter worked with therapists to process his trauma enough to speak coherently about it. Butcher coordinated with Victoria's security team. The hearing would be in the Rayburn House office building, public gallery, media present, but also Vought's people, protesters on both sides, potential violence. They needed layers of protection. Homelander will be there, MM stated the obvious. He's scheduled to testify defending Vought. You'll be in the same room. Good. Wade checked his new katanas. Victoria had somehow procured them through official channels. Let him hear what I have to say. The night before the hearing, Wade stood on the safe house roof, looking at the Baltimore skyline. Starlight joined him, her own pre-testimony jitters showing. I've been thinking, she said, about what happens after. If we win, if Vought gets exposed, if everything we're hoping for actually happens, what then? They still have power, money, Homelander. We'll have made enemies of all of them. Then we deal with it. Together. Wade glanced at her. You're not alone in this anymore, Starbright. You've got the boys. You've got me. You've got everyone who's sick of Vought's bullshit. That's not my name. I know. But it bugs you, so I'm keeping it. Wade pocketed the phone, looked at the city. Tomorrow he'd sit in front of Congress, remove his mask, show his face to the world, tell the truth about Vought's dimensional kidnapping program, about corporate superheroes, about everything he'd seen. And Homelander would be there, watching, waiting, barely contained. Tomorrow was going to hurt. But then again, everything worthwhile usually did. Inside, Butcher was reviewing final security protocols with MM. Frenchie was checking equipment. Kimiko was sharpening knives because that's how she processed stress. Huey was practicing his own testimony. He'd witnessed the boys' investigation, could corroborate details. Peter was meditating in his room, trying to find calm before facing his captors in public. They were ready. As ready as anyone could be to go to war with the most powerful corporation in America. Wade's phone buzzed again. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. Then did. Tomorrow, you're going to sit in that hearing room and lie. Homelander's voice was tight, controlled. You're going to make me look bad, hurt Vought, damage everything we've built, and I'm going to have to sit there and smile. Be professional, play the hero. That's the plan, yeah. But after, when the cameras are off, the control cracked. I'm going to find you, everyone you care about, and I'm going to show you what happens to people who try to destroy me. Get in line. Everyone wants to kill me. You're not special. I'm the Homelander. You're a product, a mascot, a corporate spokesperson with laser eyes and a god complex. And tomorrow, the world is going to see exactly what you are. Wade's voice hardened. See you in Congress, John. He hung up, used Homelander's real name deliberately, the one thing Vought never said publicly, the reminder that under the costume and branding, he was just a person. A person Wade had hurt. And was about to hurt much worse. The Rayburn House office building's hearing room was designed for spectacle, marble columns, high ceilings, rows of seats for representatives elevated above the witness table. Gallery packed with media, public observers, protesters who'd won the lottery for seats. Every major news network had cameras, C-SPAN broadcasting live. Estimated audience, 200 million worldwide. Wade sat at the witness table in his full Deadpool suit, flanked by lawyers Victoria Newman had provided. To his left, Starlight in civilian clothes, jeans and a simple shirt, no costume. To his right, Peter Parker, looking young and terrified. Behind them, the boys sat in the gallery. Across the aisle, Vought's legal team, 15 lawyers in expensive suits. And at their witness table, Homelander in full costume, cape draped perfectly, smile locked in place. Their eyes met. Homelander's gaze promised violence. Congresswoman Victoria Newman gavelled the hearing to order. This special session of the Federal Superhero Oversight Committee will come to order. We're here to investigate allegations regarding Vought International's Project Gateway and related activities. Mr. Wilson, you're under oath. Please state your full name for the record. Wade leaned into the microphone. Wade Winston Wilson. And are you also known as Deadpool? That's the marketing name, yeah? Like how John Gilman is called Homelander. Corporate branding. Homelander's smile tightened, using his real name in public. Twice now. Victoria continued. Mr. Wilson, you've made serious allegations against Vought International. Before we proceed, I'm going to ask you to do something unusual. You've claimed to be from an alternate dimension. You've claimed to have witnessed Vought kidnapping individuals from other universes. These are extraordinary claims, and extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. She paused. So I'm going to ask you to remove your mask. Show this committee and the American people who you really are. No more anonymity, no more hiding, just truth. The room went silent. Wade's hands moved to his mask. This was it. The moment he became real to millions of people. No fourth wall, no jokes to hide behind. Just his scarred face and the truth. He pulled the mask off. Gasps from the gallery, camera flashes. His face was a roadmap of violence, scar tissue from the cancer, from Weapon X, from 1,000 fights and deaths and regenerations. Wade met the cameras. This is what Weapon X did to me. Government experiment. Terminal cancer plus healing factor equals this. I heal, but I never heal right. And yeah, I know I'm not pretty, but ugly people can tell the truth too. Victoria's expression didn't change. Professional. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Now, in your own words, tell us what you witnessed at the Vought facility in New Jersey. Wade talked for 40 minutes, described the dimensional portal, the 6 prisoners in restraints, the research equipment, the scientists treating people like lab specimens. Peter Parker's testimony corroborated 3 months of captivity, medical experiments, psychological torture. Starlight testified about Vought's internal culture, the way heroes were controlled, how dissent was crushed. Vought's lead counsel objected constantly. Hearsay, speculation. The witness lacks expertise. But Victoria overruled each objection. This wasn't a trial. It was a fact-finding hearing. The rules were different. When Wade finished, Vought's lawyer stood. Older man, silver hair, expensive suit. Mr. Wilson, you claim to be from an alternate dimension. Do you have any proof of this claim? The dimensional rift that brought me here was destroyed. So no physical proof. Convenient. You also claim to have a healing factor. Can you demonstrate this supposed ability? Wade pulled out a knife. Before anyone could stop him, he drove it through his own palm. Blood pooled on the table. Gallery screamed. Representatives shouted. Wade pulled the knife out, held up his hand, and let them watch as the wound closed. 30 seconds. Completely healed. That work for you? The lawyer's composure cracked. That proves you have abilities. Not that you're from another dimension. Not that Vought did anything wrong. For all we know, you're a dangerous soup with delusions who attacked a legitimate research facility. Then explain Peter Parker. Explain the other prisoners. Explain why Vought was running an off-books facility. You were present at the New Jersey facility during the incident. Can you describe what happened from your perspective? Homelander's testimony was masterful, smooth, sympathetic. He'd responded to reports of a break-in, found Wade and known terrorists destroying the facility, attempted to de-escalate peacefully, was forced to defend himself when attacked, portrayed himself as the victim, made Wade sound like an unhinged extremist. This individual, Homelander gestured at Wade, is dangerous, unstable. He's attacked our facilities, kidnapped our employees, caused millions in property damage, and now he's sitting here, unmasked, trying to destroy everything Vought has built. Everything I've built, trying to make Americans afraid of their heroes. His voice cracked perfectly. It breaks my heart. Oscar-worthy performance. The gallery was split, some nodding along, others looking skeptical. The media ate it up. Victoria Newman let him finish. Then, Homelander, are you aware that Mr. Wilson's testimony has been corroborated by multiple sources? That we have footage of the dimensional prisoners? That forensic teams have confirmed the facility's existence and purpose? I'm aware of allegations, but allegations aren't facts. Then explain this. Victoria played a video on the screens. New footage, not from Wade's phone, from facility security cameras that the boys had extracted. Showed scientists discussing dimensional subjects, showed prisoners being sedated, showed Vought executives approving the project, showed everything. Homelander's composure cracked, just for a second, rage flashing across his face before the smile returned. I wasn't aware of the specifics of that program. I'm a hero, not a corporate administrator. But you testified that the facility was legitimate. How can you vouch for its legitimacy if you don't know what was happening there? Homelander's jaw tightened. I trust Vaught's leadership. Even when that leadership is committing human rights violations? The room erupted, Vaught's lawyers objecting, representatives arguing, media shouting questions. Victoria gavelled for order, but the chaos built. This wasn't going according to Vaught's plan. Their carefully constructed narrative was collapsing in real time. Wade watched Homelander's eyes, saw the moment he decided the rules didn't matter anymore. Homelander stood. This hearing is a joke, a witch hunt. These people are terrorists and you're giving them a platform. His voice rose. I've saved thousands of lives. I've protected this country, and you're going to believe some scarred freak in a mask over me? Mr. Gilman, sit down. Victoria's voice was steel. You're still under oath. I don't care about your oath. I don't care about your committee. I'm the Homelander. The explosion hit the building's east wing. The shockwaves shattered windows, knocked people from chairs. Ceiling tiles rained down. Emergency alarms shrieked. Smoke filled the hall. Wade's training kicked in. Cover Starlight and Peter, assess threats, find exits. But through the chaos, he saw Homelander's smile. This was planned. Vaught's final move. Create chaos. End the hearing. Blame it on Wade's terrorist allies. Perfect cover. The gallery panicked. Representatives fled. Security swarmed, and through the smoke, Wade saw armed figures entering. Not Capitol Police, Vought contractors, the same ones from Pennsylvania. They'd just attacked the United States Congress. The contractors moved through smoke with military precision. 4-man teams, suppressed weapons, targeting representatives, witnesses, anyone who could continue the hearing. This wasn't crowd control. This was assassination. Wade grabbed his katana from under the table. Victoria's security had allowed it as evidence and moved. A contractor aimed at a fleeing congresswoman. Wade intercepted, blade deflecting the rifle barrel. The shot went wide. Wade's follow-through opened the man's throat. Not killing, disabling. The contractor dropped. Everyone down! Wade's voice cut through panic. Stay low! Exit through the west corridor! Starlight was already moving, blasting contractors with light, creating cover for civilians. Peter Parker webbed 2 attackers to the wall, his spide, our sense guiding him through the chaos. The boys were armed. Butcher's paranoia meant they'd smuggled weapons in despite security. They formed a defensive line. But the contractors kept coming. 8, 12, 20. Too many for the Capitol Police to handle. This was a military-grade assault on American soil, on Congress itself, and the cameras were still rolling. C-SPAN's feed was live, news networks broadcasting everything, the world watching as armed men attacked a congressional hearing, watching Wade Wilson, mask off, face exposed, scarred and monstrous, protecting representatives and civilians. Watching Homelander standing in the center of the room, doing nothing, just watching, smiling. "Homelander!" a congressman shouted from behind an overturned table. "Help us! You're the hero!" Homelander turned slowly. "Am I? Because 5 minutes ago you were questioning my integrity, investigating my company, believing this terrorist over me." He gestured at Wade. "Why should I help people who won't even trust me?" The room went silent except for gunfire and screams. Every camera focused on Homelander. Every microphone caught his words. "You're seriously not going to help?" Victoria Newman stared at him. "People are dying." "People die every day. I can't save everyone." Homelander examined his gloves. "Besides, this seems like a job for Deadpool. He's the real hero, right? That's what you all were saying. Let's see him save the day." Wade took 3 bullets protecting a staffer, felt them punch through his chest, kidney, shoulder. His healing factor was already taxed from the previous days. Each injury took longer to close. He was slowing, fading, but he kept moving, kept fighting, because that's what you did when people needed saving. A contractor lined up a shot at Victoria Newman. Wade threw his katana. It took the man in the shoulder, spinning him. Wade followed, retrieved his blade, kept moving. His vision grayed, blood loss catching up, healing factor struggling. "Wade!" Starlight blasted a contractor off him. "You can't keep taking hits like this. Don't have a choice." Wade deflected another rifle. "Someone has to." Homelander laughed, actually laughed. The sound echoed through the chamber, picked up by every microphone, broadcast to 200 million people. "Look at him, the great hero, bleeding out protecting ungrateful politicians who'd throw him in a cell if they could." He turned to the cameras. "This is what you want? This is your hero, a scarred freak with a death wish? Better than a narcissist in a cape who watches people die?" Wade shouted back. "Better than a corporate mascot who only saves people when the cameras are rolling?" Homelander's eyes started glowing. "What did you say?" "You heard me, John." Wade faced him fully, blood soaking his suit, breathing ragged, but standing. "You're not a hero. You're a product. And when the product stops selling, Vought will replace you with the next model. You know it. They know it. That's why you're so desperate to maintain control." The glow intensified. "Shut up. Or what? You'll kill me on live television? In front of Congress? In front of the world?" Wade spread his arms. "Go ahead. Prove everything I've been saying. Prove you're just a monster in a flag costume." "I'm not a monster. I'm a hero." Homelander's voice cracked. "I save people. I protect America. I'm the good guy." "Then act like it." Wade gestured at the chaos. "People are dying right now. Stop posturing and help them." Homelander looked at the cameras, at the civilians cowering, at the contractors still attacking, at Wade, bleeding and exhausted but still fighting, at the choice between his ego and his image. His image won. "I don't take orders from terrorists." Homelander turned toward the exit. "Vought security will handle this. I'm not needed here." He walked away, just walked away from a massacre in Congress, on camera, with 200 million people watching. The gallery erupted. Shock, outrage, horror. Even the contractors paused, staring at their benefactor abandoning the mission. The illusion shattered completely. Homelander wasn't a hero. He was exactly what Wade had said. A narcissist who only performed heroism when it benefited him. Queen Maeve's voice cut through from the doorway. "John, don't." She stood there in full costume. Behind her, the Deep and A-Train. They'd been mobilized when the attack started, sent to restore order. But now they watched their leader abandon civilians, watched him choose ego over lives. "Don't what?" Homelander turned. "Don't leave? Why should I stay?" He flew up through the damaged ceiling and was gone. The most powerful soup in America had just abandoned Congress during an attack. On live television, Maeve stood frozen. Then she moved, started helping evacuate civilians. The Deep followed her lead, looking lost. A-Train hesitated, then joined in. The Seven, or what remained of them, finally doing actual hero work. Too little, too late. But something. Wade collapsed against a pillar. His healing factor had nothing left. Too much damage, too many injuries. His vision darkened. But through the haze, he saw people getting out. Representatives evacuating. Civilians reaching safety. The boys covering their retreat. Mission accomplished. He'd exposed Homelander completely, shown the world what he really was. Forced the truth into the open in a way Vought couldn't spin or suppress. Cameras had caught everything. Butcher appeared beside him. "We need to move. Building's not secure." "Can't." Wade's legs weren't working. Healing factors tapped. "Need few minutes." "Don't have a few minutes." MM was on the other side, supporting Wade's weight. "Federal buildings compromised. Emergency services are flooding in. We get caught here. We're sitting ducks for whatever Vought throws next." Kimiko signed something. Frenchie translated. "She says leave no one behind." They carried him out through the west exit. Behind them, the Rayburn building smoked and burned. Emergency vehicles surrounded it. News helicopters circled like vultures. The contractors had fled when Homelander abandoned them. No backup meant no mission. Capitol Police were securing the area. Representatives gave shocked interviews. Survivors shared their stories. And every single one of them mentioned the same thing. Homelander walking away while Deadpool kept fighting. Wade's phone, cracked but functional, buzzed with notifications. Social media had exploded. Homelander abandoned trending worldwide. Video clips showing him leaving. Side-by-side comparisons with Wade protecting civilians. His reputation was cratering in real time. The truth was out. Wade passed out in the back of a van, surrounded by the boys and Starlight and Peter Parker, surrounded by people who'd stood with him, fought beside him, refused to let him face this alone. When he woke 16 hours later in another safe house, the world had changed. Vought's CEO had resigned, 3 board members arrested, federal investigation expanded to every facility, international condemnation, protests outside every Vought building worldwide, Homelander in hiding, the 7 disbanded, corporate superhero model in collapse. All because one scarred man with a healing factor had refused to kneel, had refused to stay silent, had chosen to be a hero even when it cost him everything. 3 weeks later, Wade stood on a rooftop in Brooklyn, watching the sun set over a city that was still learning what real heroes looked like. His healing factor had finally recovered completely. The scars from congressional testimony, both physical and otherwise, had faded into the general roadmap of damage that was his face. He'd stopped wearing the mask in public. No point anymore. Everyone knew what he looked like now. The city below had changed. Vought Tower was under federal seizure. The Seven's merchandise was being pulled from shelves. Heroes were being deregistered, investigated, either arrested or released, depending on their complicity. Some soups had fled the country. Others were trying to rebuild their reputations. A few, like Maeve, surprisingly, were actually helping with the investigations. The whole system was collapsing, slowly, messily. but collapsing. Footsteps behind him. Wade didn't turn. You know, most people use doors. Starlight landed beside him, her powers finally feeling like her own instead of Vaught's. I'm not most people anymore. Reformed corporate soup turned whistleblower, it's a whole thing. She sat on the ledge. Butcher said you were you. Epi here, thinking. Dangerous activity for me. He also said you've been offered a job. Multiple jobs, actually. FBI is there? Because from where I'm sitting, you're the most trusted person with powers in America right now. People see you as the one who told the truth when everyone else was lying. She paused. What are you going to do? Wade thought about his own universe, about the life he'd lost when that dimensional rift pulled him through. The X-Men, his few friends, the missions, his apartment that probably still had pizza rotting in the fridge. Everything familiar, everything gone. I'm going to stay, he said finally. Keep fighting. Not with the FBI or some new superhero team. Just keep doing what I've been doing. Helping people. Exposing corruption. Being a pain in the ass to anyone who thinks powers mean you get to hurt others. That's not much of a plan. It's the only plan I've got. Wade looked at his hands. Scarred. Damaged. Unkillable. I can't go home. That rift is gone. The technology is destroyed. I'm stuck in a universe where corporate heroes were the norm and real heroism was radical. Where Homelander exists and Vought nearly controlled everything. Where people with powers were products instead of people. He met her eyes. But maybe that's why I'm here. To show them something different. Starlight smiled. That's very noble for a guy who stabbed someone with a chimichanga last week. He deserved it. And it was symbolic. It was assault with frozen Mexican food. Symbolic assault. Wade stood. You know what's funny? In my universe, I was always the outsider. The joke. The guy heroes barely tolerated because I was useful but inconvenient. Here, I'm the guy who stood up to Homelander. The one who exposed Vought. The hero. He laughed. It's weird being the responsible one. Get used to it, because this world needs you. Starlight stood beside him. We all do. The boys are still hunting down Vaught's remaining operations. Peter Parker is adjusting to being stuck here like you. Maeve's trying to rebuild her life, and everyone's looking to you to see what happens next. That's terrifying. That's leadership. Movement below. Wade's enhanced hearing caught it first. Sounds of a struggle. Duty calls. He pulled his mask on. Still wore it for the work, if not for testimony. Wanna come be a real hero? Starlight's hands glowed. Always. They dropped from the roof together, her flying, him using fire escapes and parkour to descend. The scene was familiar. Convenience store robbery. 3 armed men, hostages. Except this time, the robbers saw Deadpool approaching and ran. Just ran. Didn't even try to fight. Because they knew what he'd do. What he represented. Accountability. The hostages were shaken but safe. Wade checked on them, made sure they were okay, called it in. No grand battle, no viral moment. Just basic hero work. The kind that didn't make headlines but mattered anyway. Afterward, standing in the street while police arrived, Wade checked his phone. Messages from the boys planning their next operation against a Vought subsidiary. From Victoria Newman about upcoming legislation to regulate superhero corporations. From Peter Parker asking advice about adjusting to this universe. From random people thanking him for the testimony. And one from an unknown number. Still out here, still watching, still planning. You changed the game, Wade, but the game's not over. A friend who appreciates chaos. No signature, but Wade knew. Homelander was in hiding, disgraced, but not gone. Still dangerous, still a threat. The victory wasn't complete. Maybe never would be. Problem? Starlight read his expression. Just the usual, vaguely threatening message from someone who wants to kill me. Standard Tuesday. Wade pocketed the phone, But that's tomorrow's problem. Tonight, I'm thinking tacos. You in? I'm in. They walked through Brooklyn as evening settled, just two people trying to be heroes in a world that was still learning what that meant. Above them, the city lights flickered on, Vought logos being removed building by building, replaced by something new. Something better. Maybe. Wade thought about the opening line he'd said when he first crashed into this universe. Okay, so interdimensional portals? Yeah, those are real and they hurt. Still true. But the hurt had been worth it. He'd exposed corruption, toppled a corporate empire, not bad for a guy who just wanted to survive. His phone buzzed again. Butcher. Got a lead on Vaught's offshore operations. Interested? Wade typed back. Always. Because that's what heroes did. They kept fighting, kept exposing truth, kept protecting people even when it was hard, even when it hurt, even when the world didn't always appreciate it. Wade Wilson had spent years being the joke, the outcast, the hero nobody wanted. Now he was the hero this world needed, even if he was still figuring out what that meant. The city continued around them, people living lives, some looking up as starlight passed, her light a beacon, some recognizing Wade, offering nods of respect or fear or gratitude. The world was different now, not perfect, not fixed, but changing. And Wade Wilson, interdimensional refugee, corporate whistleblower, reluctant hero, was going to make sure it kept changing. One fight at a time, one truth at a time, one heroic act at a time. He looked up at the sky where his universe existed somewhere in the infinite multiverse, unreachable, lost. But maybe that was okay. Maybe he'd found something here worth staying for, worth fighting for, worth being a hero for. Wade smiled under his mask and kept walking. Because heroes don't quit. Even the broken ones. Especially the broken ones. And somewhere in the darkness, Homelander watched the news coverage of Deadpool's latest rescue. Watched the comments praising him. Watched his own reputation continue to crumble while Wade's grew. The rage was there, the desire for revenge, but also calculation, patience, planning. This wasn't over. It was just beginning.